All right, we're here. We're here. We did it. We're on. We're back in the studio, man.
Crushed it, man. Crushed it.
Back in the studio, back in the saddles, as they say in the industry. I think that's an industry term. We're here. We're on the SquadCast. You're here. We're hanging out with the squad. Let's see. We got our regular customers coming in on Facebook. We got Aaron Matthews here. He just wants to talk about the New Jersey Devils jerseys. Aaron?
Oh, we'll get there.
Top of the order coming up for you, buddy. Stay tuned. Rita's saying hello. Hello, Rita. Good evening. Katie Fleury's checking in, and she's going to check back later. She's got a parent-teacher conference tonight. Those are always a blast.
Well, for some, maybe.
I always had a good time. I don't know about you.
Were you that guy?
Were you
that guy, pal?
I was a teacher's pet.
Yeah. Figures much.
I was a bit of a, good student.
I kind of was too.
Ava.
Terrified of my
Ava's
mom.
checking in, says elite shirt. Now, I kind of have a story to tell about the shirt that I'm wearing, and it's poking through. You can see a little bit of it.
Oh, yeah.
Did you remember that I'm wearing this today?
This is unfortunate.
So I made
I just
a bet.
thought you all of a sudden got fashionable and trendy.
I made a bet with on TikTok, the app. This is Jacob Trouba.
Oh, that is terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Why isn't it like the one with the logo instead? Oh, my gosh.
Well, see, here's the thing.
That is...
I'm not a Rangers fan.
Halloween was 2 weeks ago, man. What are you talking
The bet was
wow.
there was a night where Morgan Rielly and Jacob Trouba both did not have a goal scored on the season. And just for fun,
didn't you guys just give that guy a $7.5 million contract?
Yeah, he scored 3 goals since.
Good job.
This bet.
Good job.
But however, it was interesting because that night just so happened. Of course, they were both playing a game, but
just so
that night Jacob Trouba scored. And Morgan Rielly scored, but Jacob Trouba scored first. So I lost the bet, but because Morgan Rielly also scored, Ava bought a shirt too.
That's just a good sport.
Yeah,
Ava
we
didn't
have fun with it.
that.
I mean, why wouldn't you have fun with it?
That's a good sport right
I'm not
there.
a Rangers fan. I knew I wouldn't wear a New York Rangers shirt. So you know what? I'm like,
Why
what?
weren't you
I'm going to
allowed
buy
order
one of
the
these.
one with the logo and the name on the back?
No. I was like, I'm not going to wear a Rangers shirt. And I was going to get a Winnipeg Jets one. So Jacob Trouba is just going to peek out all night. I was going to get a Winnipeg Jets, like a vintage Trouba Jets shirt or jersey or something.
Can you call it vintage if he was there 2 years ago, though?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that vintage?
It's discontinued.
I mean, 2004 maybe. That's vintage.
Wow. Okay, maybe not vintage. Vintage is the wrong word. Anyways, I figured, you know what? Part of the bet was I had to wear the shirt on the show. So here we are. Tonight's
Good job. You honored your bet.
Absolutely. So anyways, thank you for checking in. If you are watching on Facebook, please hit us with a like and a share. If you're watching on YouTube, we want to see your comments. Shoot up the comments all night long. Let's get it going.
Tell a friend, subscribe.
Subscribe, hit that like button. What else can we say? Smash that like button.
No,
you're not. We don't want to be those guys.
That ain't us, man. We're not those guys.
All right, fair. And then, hey, we're on Twitter too, so hit us with a retweet on there. And as always, throughout the whole night, ask us anything. And we got a brand new. Hulk Hogan got his shirt. He sent us a new picture.
Hulk, how you
we
doing?
got the new shirt for Hulk, the
Wow.
SquadCast. The new branding and everything.
Fits
he
his
was
brand
pumped.
way better.
He sent me a message. He was like, "I got you, brother." And he got right back to me with the picture.
A little work.
As you can imagine, he's always got a photographer ready, and he's always got the bandanas and the glasses.
Kind of like us.
Yeah, he's just ready to roll. So anyways, ask us anything. If you want to chirp us, if you want to send us questions, topics to talk about, all of it. Send it in, comments, Facebook, YouTube, wherever. Hit us up. I have put the YouTube link into our Facebook chat. If you guys don't mind over on Facebook, jump over, hit subscribe. If you want to watch over there, great. If not, great. But we're going to get into it because we have a lot to get into. We want to give a shout out to our friends at Rockstar Supply Chain Solutions. Max decided to just put the flamingos right beside each other today, which is fine.
Isn't that what you're supposed to do? I told you,
split
man.
them up because they're blocking the shirt
I
now.
told you, I'm a graphic designer, not a set designer. I told you my weaknesses. This is on you.
It's on me.
Don't put the power play unit together with the wrong pieces. And don't expect greatness. And
don't trust anybody.
Exactly. If you want to do something right, do it yourself. Exactly.
So anyways, Rockstar Supply Chain Solutions. Shout out to Roxanne and Darnell. Thank you guys. They're awesome people. They truly are. And we're going to get into it right now because we have a lot to get in a short time because sooner than later, Andrew Gottslig from Hoop Life Basketball is going to come in. We're going to talk NBA. And our good friend Jessi Pierce is going to come in. We're talking Minnesota Wild, NHL. She's great, host of the Bar Down Beauties podcast. And she's also a writer on NHL.com. You were pointing at your phone? Something's going on?
No, I was just pointing at you. I was just going to say, I know coaches give in between interviews, during the game.
Yeah.
Coach Andrew Gottslig is coming in between games.
Right.
This guy's ending a game at 7 o'clock, and he's got to go back and coach at 8. So he is being as gracious as with his time at a separate building. So, I mean, we got to fit him in.
Drive here from over there.
Exactly.
Come over here, do a quick chat. He's got to get back on the court.
Guy's always bouncing.
So let's get into it.
Bouncing
Top of the order,
some
Aaron
basketball.
Matthews. Are you listening? Because this is for you. The New Jersey Devils got new jerseys with jersey on the jersey in New Jersey. This is PK Subban, of course. They blew it up on all of their social media channels. They're pumping it. And I think, the sign of a good... when you know a good social media team, when there's a good team. Sorry, what am I trying to say? The sign of knowing a good social media team is if something catches on in a bad way and people start bashing it like crazy, and the social media team leans into it. I didn't get the picture of the hat.
The hat. Yeah.
So somebody said it's a jersey with the word jersey on it. So what's next? Hat with the word hat, and the Devils posted a picture of coming soon, maybe with. Literally looks like that, but it says hat.
One, yeah,
so you know what? They're leaning into it, and they're buying in because I saw a video of the players. The players like these. Now, who knows if they're just saying that?
Yeah, because PK is going to come out and rip the team that's paying him $9 million this year. Absolutely.
I saw the video, and they're all like, "Oh yeah, buddy, this is sick." Talking like hockey players talk.
It just looks so familiar.
One of these things is one of the parts of this jersey just doesn't sit right for me. I think they need at least
3 more stripes.
More stripes, maybe. I saw yours. Your family owns the stripe shop here in town, and you did the edit this morning.
It was just right there.
It was right there, and you put stripe shop instead of jersey. I think it looked better.
There's like 36 stripes on the jersey. So
yeah.
It
just put it up one more time really quick if you guys don't mind. So again, there's a lot of stripes. It's black, white. It seems bland at first glance. Now, the one thing I will say, and this always seems to happen for the majority of times, is that it's kind of growing on me once I saw the name and number on the back, and it's not just the front. Once the players got into it, it's looking a little better to me, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. Not my favorite.
I think PK, I can read his mind there. He's saying, "I'm very happy I'm in the last year of my contract, so I don't have to wear this ever."
Yeah,
again
he's looking at his agent like, "Hey, who am I going to sign with next year?"
I don't know. You know what? I don't want to bash it too much, but at the end of the day, I just look at it. I think Chicago Blackhawks Winter Classic jersey. It looks nearly identical to it. There's not a lot of originality to it. And the other side of it is, I get it. So Martin Brodeur designed this jersey with the help of the good folks at Adidas.
He designed this jersey like you designed the set,
Great marketing
Max.
plan right there, taking all-time franchise great. Just in case the backlash hits, they can blame Marty, which, I mean, at the end of the day is what it is. But I get it. So it's the 21 stripes, which represent the 21 counties of New Jersey. The jersey,
there's 21 specific stripes?
Yeah, I read the backstory on this because, again, I was in the middle of bashing it.
I was about to, and then I didn't.
Yeah. Well, that's a concept that works, but anyways. Yeah, so, and then you got Jersey because that's what everybody's saying. We're going to Jersey, right?
Yeah.
So
nobody says New Jersey.
I'll give it the point. I said this in a text today. It's when the NHL, or at least when the individual teams kind of come up with these jerseys, they try to do a little bit too much. There's always the trying to blend the heritage element while also trying to keep it modern for the kids.
Yeah.
And it just, they seemingly don't do enough in trying to strike the balance. And we're going to talk to Jessi Pierce a little later. I'll be interested to find out her take on the Minnesota Wild.
Yes,
Winter
if
Classic
Lindsay's
jerseys.
back there clicking around, if you could help us with something, we need a picture of the Minnesota Wild Winter Classic jerseys that are coming up. They're green with some stripes on it. I need that picture. I forgot to get it, but we need it for our interview later.
Elbow patches. I thought we left elbow patches in 1964.
She's on it.
Good
so we're
stuff,
gonna
Lindsay.
get it.
Fantastic. Appreciate you.
To me, it's. I feel like marketing is getting too involved in the jersey design, and I feel like there used to be an aspect to it is, does this look really good? And it's gotten into, how can we pump as many stories into a jersey design as possible? And it's just like, just make jerseys that look good. Where did that go? Just make jerseys that look good.
And the Devils do have one of the nicest logos in the league where you don't have to stray too far from the grain with it. I mean, if you want to come up with an alternate logo, do that. But this whole scripted stuff, again, like, I get it if there's a team back in the day that wore the same jersey. That's what the Predators did in their Winter Classic jersey. I looked up a couple of concepts. There was nothing really specifically with the jersey on it. It was always Newark, and it kind of had the New York Rangers element to it. Anyways, I don't know. I'm finding it troublesome when trying to find reasons for it to grow on me.
Do you have the photo that you could put it up right now, Jordan?
There's Minnesota's, and again, so many stripes.
The top stripe. Honestly, take away the top chest stripe. I might be okay with it.
But like, and you crunch the C in there, like it doesn't even look like a C. And then the picture, great picture,
Brown
guys,
gloves.
great source. But if you flip it around, there's elbow patches.
Jordan, flip it around for me.
There's elbow patches.
I know, do it. There you go.
Yeah.
Shoot,
Hey,
we
Jared
still can't see
Spurgeon,
the
left-handed,
elbows.
looks like a good hockey player.
You might have to trade for him.
Yeah. So,
anyways, let's move on. We
Yeah.
got a lot to get to here.
Not my favorite.
Spent
Let's
a lot
just
of
say
time
that.
on the New Jersey Devils jerseys, which
New
is fine
Jersey-
because
New
it's a
Jersey's
big
New
topic.
Jerseys?
The New jerseys for New Jersey with jersey on the jersey. That's the quote.
you spent all day practicing.
I
that,
did.
didn't
Yeah,
you?
I said it a lot.
You did
just to make
great.
Sure.
You nailed it.
The Oakland A's are maybe no longer going to be the Oakland A's sooner than later. This is a report that I think is extremely interesting, and I'm going to be watching because the Oakland A's, to me, when I look at that, I mean, we talk about Moneyball all the time, of course, but even
Modern
just
classic,
beyond
Craig
that,
Ballard.
when I think of this, I'm like, this is one of my favorite baseball logos and teams, color schemes ever. And I don't even like the Oakland A's as a team necessarily.
Yeah.
But when I played on a team called the A's one year, and I'm like, the green and the yellow just mixes perfectly together. The stripes that they have on the piping on their jersey, everything I like about the Oakland A's. However, I've also been to games in Oakland, and it is a hot trash stadium.
The uniforms
not
don't
even
exactly
hot, actually. You know what? It's cooling down.
the uniforms don't exactly make up for the cracks in the foundation,
No.
the literal cracks in the foundation at
it's
the
not
Coliseum.
great. So
Yeah.
obviously the team is campaigning to get Oakland, the city, to build them a new stadium.
Mm-hmm.
They want to stay in Oakland. There's a rich history of baseball in Oakland. The
Mm-hmm.
Athletics, obviously, have been around for a long time with some storied teams. There's movies about them. But they have already designed a stadium and put an offer on a plot of land in Las Vegas, Nevada.
They say Vegas never sleeps, and that apparently holds true for the engineers and graphic designers, right?
So, I mean, it's not set in stone, and sometimes that can be used as a leverage tactic for
Mm-hmm.
the city to kind of step up and keep
I'm
them
watching
there.
Suits again. I'm learning about leverage tactics. It's
There you
very,
go.
very interesting. I
Suits.
got that.
Good. It's
Got
a good
that.
show.
Good reference.
Thank you.
Very good.
I
meant
was just saying two words, but it was a Suits reference.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I really hope the Oakland A's stay in Oakland, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done there, and they could very soon be the Vegas A's.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen
Vegas
it successful.
A's.
The
Are they
Vegas
naming
A's.
it?
The
Are they going
Las
to keep
Vegas
it? Would they
A's.
keep it? I guess.
I don't. You know what?
Because they were the Las
Makes
Vegas
sense too,
51s.
right? I mean, we are from a branding perspective, right? It's an excellent brand. It's something that's got an identity. They're really the only thing that you have to look. And again, right? We
Vegas
talk about
Athletics.
Well, the Raiders, right? They literally all they did was just change the top font, right? The logo's iconic. Everything kind of can stay the same. Just got to change it to an LV. And I mean, again, we look at Vegas.
Would you change it to an LV or just keep it as an A? Because they were the A's
Oh
before.
no!
Oakland.
I'm just saying, like you put it in the word mark, right?
Yeah.
You had the logo.
Where
with the
were they
circle.
before Oakland? Because they were the A's before Oakland. Now here's a
This is
trivia
sad.
question
We should
for the
know
viewers.
this. We should really know
viewers,
this.
you guys need to hook us up because we need to figure this out. The A's were
Were
not
they
in
the
Oakland
Brooklyn
originally.
A's?
It's a team. It's a
Brooklyn
St.
Dodgers.
Louis or
Anyway,
something weird.
Regardless,
Somebody tell us in
long
the
story
comments.
short, it's worked in Vegas though. Why wouldn't the rebrand potentially work in Vegas? I don't necessarily see a reason why it wouldn't. We've seen two teams successfully move there. The Raiders are obviously having their turmoils in, I guess, the football operation side of things, not necessarily to the fault of their own.
Philadelphia.
The Philadelphia A's.
Thank
we
you,
should have
Jordan.
known that. We should have known
Jordan
that.
did the Google thing.
Jordan's a stud.
Yeah, he
But
knows what's
and
up.
then we've seen obviously the success of the Golden Knights. Vegas is now not just a gambling town; it's a sports city, right? It's one of those ones where it just kind of ties the two perfectly together, where the entertainment capital of the world, as it were, is now gaining sports teams and another reason for people to go and spend their vacation dollars. So why wouldn't a baseball team work there? I really don't see a reason why not. And would it be the first professional baseball team that we've seen since the Las Vegas 51s?
In Vegas, yes, I think so.
Yeah, I don't believe they've had a minor league team there since.
No, the 51s I think are still going.
Are they still around? Who
There's
are they
there's a
affiliated
Vegas
with?
the Mets I think now.
The Mets, gotcha.
Yeah, there's a story there. But remember we were talking UFLB. We were talking to the Circus Sports guys.
Yep.
He was the owner
He was
of
the
the 51s
That's
at
where I
at
drew-
one time.
That's where I drew it from.
The Ultimate Fantasy Football or franchise sports is what I'm trying to say. We were in the baseball
involved with that,
conversation.
too.
So, anyways, he doesn't own the team anymore, but I'm pretty sure they're the Mets organization. Let's move on. We got to keep going here. The official 2022 MLB Hall of Fame ballot is out. Now, there's 4 names. You can't see them on this list, but there are 4 names that are, this is their last year of eligibility. Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, they're on here, but they're not highlighted. Kurt Schilling and Sammy Sosa. Last year that these guys can be put in or they're out. All 4 guys should be Hall of Famers, in my opinion, from their play on the field. All 4 guys have off-field or some sort of related controversies. obviously Bonds and Sosa, I think, were in the steroid stuff.
Oh, we know they were
Clemens
in the steroid
as well.
stuff. We don't have to think.
All four of them? Were they all steroids?
Clemens was performance enhancers.
Schilling was something else.
Schilling's got some things that he says.
Did he get charged for something or something?
There's a few things going on with Kurt Schilling that aren't.
He's got some off-field stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
So those four
guys had
guys.
a great career, though. You're correct.
I mean,
as a baseball pitcher,
if you took me back to when I was growing up, in the late 90s, early 2000s, all four of those guys were absolute locks to be Hall of Famers with the way that they were playing baseball.
Yep.
And then everything kind of spiraled, and again, all the off-field stuff. But if you're sitting here telling me that Barry Bonds can't get into the Hall of Fame, something's got to be majorly
Somebody
wrong.
tell Pete Rose that then too.
I'm aware. I get it. But he's going to be in that conversation forever if this doesn't happen.
Yeah.
There's some other names in here. Like, all of these names are great baseball players. There's a few that I'm like, they're on this list.
I find this class to be one of the most interesting, at least for myself.
It's all our era of
It's
people.
all our era of baseball players.
Yeah.
I remember using these guys in video games when I started playing baseball
Exactly.
games. But before that, it was the guys that maybe just predated our era just a little bit. So some interesting names there. I mean, David Ortiz. I think
David Ortiz is the one guy on here that I can realistically say he's a lock. He's got to be in it.
Just based on his history.
His clutch is winning with the Red Sox.
And he's kept the off-field separate from the on-field as well, too, right?
So I would say he's relatively clean of
gotta
all
love
that
Big
stuff.
Papi. Even if you're not a Red Sox fan, it's Big Papi.
Again, it's guys we grew up with, and I look at some of these names, and I'm like, really? Like, I don't know. Like, they were great. Like, Billy Wagner, I mean, he was good for a few years. Is he Hall of Fame worthy? Maybe I'm missing a whole bunch. Torrey Hunter's another one where he's like, he was the best player on the Twins for a long time, but maybe I'm missing his. Maybe I got to go back and check their numbers.
Well, that's
again.
the thing. Yeah, it's time to do the little history lesson because some of those names, man, they were iconic. You see Tim Lincecum on there too.
Yep.
Just the absolute freak that he was on the mound for the San Francisco Giants for a duration of time too.
Janelle Barkman's checking in, by the way, on YouTube. Says, "Oh, hi, my boys. Just catching up on all the sports news today. CFL, SJHL trades. The SJHL is going crazy with trades right now.
Oh, that's good. A little
Tons
bit of
of
player
trades.
movement. Yeah.
The Canada jerseys. Are we talking about I think the Curling Canada released their Canada jerseys.
Oh, okay.
Potentially.
Is that tied in with the Lululemon stuff for
I don't know.
all the athletes, or is that going to be their
Maybe I missed something. Janelle, you got to tell me what Canada jerseys
we need context. We can't read up on everything.
Yeah.
We can try. But,
yeah, please tell me so I can make the corrections. Just a little reference there to some stuff. Anyways, we're going to fly through the rest of this because we got to go to a break. The Yankees have traded 27-year-old infield, outfield, up-and-coming guy, Tyler Wade. If Ava's watching, she is crushed by this. She was hoping that he was going to be in the lineup. To the LA Angels for a famous PTNBL, player to be named later. He's coming off a season where he played 103 games for the Yankees. He hit 268, no homers or anything like that, but he was looking like a guy who was going to maybe crack into their roster or maybe just be that kind of utility guy. But they've dealt him, and they also released former super prospect Clint Frazier. Now, Clint Frazier, he was always the guy that was going to be in a trade for Mike Trout or whoever. Right. Insert name here for the Yankees because it's the Yankees. But Clint Frazier was always that guy. They never traded him, and now they're just straight up cutting him. That's harsh. We're going to keep moving. Wander Franco. Now I'm going to skip ahead a couple because I want to stick with baseball for a sec, Jordan and Lindsay. So just keep an eye on what I say here. But Wander Franco. The Tampa Bay Rays have signed him to a 12-year, $223 million contract. Ava's just saying that Tyler Wade's also an elite defender. So there you go. Defense, underrated. Wander Franco, 12 years, and I've already started seeing that the Rays management is better than the Blue Jays management because the Blue Jays haven't signed Vladimir Guerrero yet. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's time for this. Let's just say that. I mean, when it comes to this deal, though, for Wander, I mean, about time for the Rays in terms of committing and investing in somebody.
You know what? Hall of Fame ballot, Carl Crawford was probably the last guy they committed to.
Honestly.
And they also dumped him.
Exactly.
Before the end
so,
of
I mean,
it.
when it comes to this kind of deal and this kind of commitment, right, why not, right?
Yeah.
You're looking at the Tampa Bay Rays. It's a fan base that's let's speak candidly about the fan base that is the Tampa Bay Rays. Yeah. There's a reason that half their home games are going to be in Montreal next year. So for Montreal baseball fans, get ready to be excited about one of, if not the best prospect in all of baseball.
Absolutely.
Can you call him a prospect anymore when he signs a 12-year,
he's still under 20.
$223 million?
I think he's only 20
deal?
years old.
I don't know. The way it works out, though, I think he texted me earlier, the AAV, $18.5 million. This could be a very, very,
when
very
you
good
see a guy
bargain.
like Fernando Tatis getting 30, a year or whatever his is. And then you see Wander, who's supposed to be the top young guy in baseball under the age of 22. Which we know is
a bit of a dangerous pedestal to put him on still this early in his career.
But a 12-year, 18.5 bet, that's pretty good. That's that's,
that's a bet the Rays can typically afford.
It's a little bit more than Randall Grichuk, and you're getting a potential leadoff hitter for 12 years.
Exactly.
I mean, I'd take it. I'd take the bet. The White Sox sign Kendall Graveman, 3-year, $24 million deal. That's the last picture in the list. I don't know if we're going to put them up. There he is. Kendall Graveman was involved in the Josh Donaldson trade for the Blue Jays, former draft pick of the Blue Jays. Traded to the Athletics, and now he's been around ever since. A couple other teams.
What is with former Blue Jays relievers all of a sudden getting their bag,
I didn't put this one in, but Aaron Loop,
2 years, $17 million deal, $8.5 million. I sent that to you, and your jaw dropped.
I couldn't believe
see it on the other end of the text. You're like, how did this guy ever get to $8.5 million? I'm sure he's a great guy, but my goodness,
we're gonna skip the NFL.
He was never worth that for the Jays.
No. Well, he didn't even play for the Jays, really.
Barely. Aaron Loop was around.
Loop. Sorry, I had Graveman on my mind.
No.
But Loop, that was a guy who signs last minute on a minor league tryout type of pitcher. I don't know how we got 8.5. I'll be straight up honest.
Pitching in the NL East.
He's got a left-hand pitcher, and he throws weird. $8.5 million.
Yep.
We're gonna skip the NFL and NHL news because I'd like to dive into some NHL stuff later.
Yeah, we'll hit it on the back.
We'll get it on the back because we got to bring in our boy Andrew Gottslig after the break. So stick around. We're gonna talk NBA. And a bunch of stuff that's going on over at Hoop Life because Andrew's got to get back. He's got a game tonight. So we'll talk to you in about 2.5 minutes.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Peterson Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Peterson Show today.
Everyday Hoop Life.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. IKS Live, the proud producer of The Rod Peterson Show and The Recovery Hour. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar Buying Group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
anytime Andrew comes in, we always have these like meetings in the commercial break, and then we're like, okay, we got to talk about this after because like we have no time. And then right before this one, I'm like, oh, but then we could, and then we were like literally coming back. So I'm like, okay, we'll talk about it after. Anyways, Andrew Gottslick's here from Hoop Life. He just got off the court and he's here and he's going back to the court after.
Believe it or not, I coached my team, and guess whose team played after me? Just take a guess. Habib's team.
Hey.
And guess who was late for his game? Habib.
Is he fired or what?
Well, I can't.
How does that work?
I can't fire my co-owner, but anyways, no,
Did you
yeah,
slap him on the wrist,
no, he was with the squad. They were at White Bear First Nation, and they got a flat tire coming home.
Oof.
So, anyways, I checked in with his team, and I was like, all right, we're only gonna try to lose by a little bit this game, all right? So I messed the rotations up.
Right. Center your point guard. All right, we got this. Andrew, thanks for coming in. I know you got a ton going on, so let's pound through some content here. Let's get to the corner three right away because I want to also talk to you about the league that's going on at Hoop
100%.
Life. There it is. Look at that, right in the middle of the screen. I like it. There it is. So, LeBron. No, okay, I got to be honest. We were talking, me and Jordan in the back there, we were talking about this. We watched this like 12 times the other day because we did, when did we do, what was I doing that I did? Oh, it was a Leafs game. I think I was on TikTok Live. I'm looking at Max over here. And somebody's like, did you see LeBron's fight? Did you see LeBron's I'm like, no, I didn't. I'm literally watching a hockey game, streaming it. So anyways, I went and looked, and I was like, oh, man. Why is it always the Pistons?
I know. The funniest thing about that, the funniest thing was if you watch the replay over and over, it's like, fans, stay in your seats. Fans, stay in your seats.
And nobody charged the court.
No,
so.
I know, because, oh, man, those Malice at the Palace videos, like every 6 months, I love rewatching it because it was unreal. But, yeah, man, I mean, it's crazy. But I don't know if you guys saw, so Gilbert Arenas, infamous, brought the gun into the locker room, Gilbert Arenas.
Oh, shoot, yeah.
So he,
Gilbert,
years and years ago, obviously.
Agent Zero.
So he,
Agent Zero was his nickname.
So he tweets out after, and he's like, "What? Like, what are you thinking, Isaiah Stewart? Because I mean, Isaiah Stewart, like, he looked like he was possessed or something.
Yeah, he was like a bull at one
if you
point.
look what LeBron did, like, it's like there's been way worse things that happened, but man, that guy looked possessed on something. So Gilbert Arenas message out, he's like, man, like, I can't remember the exact words, but he's like, man, you're gonna end up overseas if you keep at it. Like, you can't go at.
Yeah, again, we watched it.
LeBron,
right? We were watching it, and I couldn't believe that. From what it was at the start, they were just bumping chest, and then it just turned into a huge thing. And we couldn't tell what actually started the scrambling because there was a lot of
and it didn't look like that crazy of a hit. But then when you looked at his face, I mean,
well, I saw his elbow and then he kind of raked it over his face a little bit. But I was just hoping Isaiah would have thrown a punch right at the beginning and actually got something going again.
I know, and this is where like basketball is so soft compared to hockey, right? Like,
hockey! Don't even get me started on what hockey would have been.
Yeah, could you imagine?
Oh no! But again, you said Malice in the Palace. Like, how many Detroit fans were sitting in that? Was it in Detroit or was it in LA?
It was in Detroit.
So how many Detroit fans were like, "Oh, here we go again. This is 2.0. It's coming," and then it never happened.
The funniest though is the PA announcer. It's like, fans, stay in your seats. Like 5-6 times, just kept repeating it.
Please don't do anything stupid.
Yeah. So I mean,
so what's coming up? LeBron suspended?
He's suspended one game. He's not playing tonight. I don't know what's going on with the Lakers. It's obviously like, I mean, this is a theme though. Like a lot of LeBron teams start like this. They'll start weak, and they generally figure it out because LeBron is that good.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's on everyone at this point, but obviously Russell Westbrook, like it doesn't fit good. But either did Dwayne Wade and LeBron. But this is a younger LeBron, so we'll see. I'm definitely nervous. Like I'm not where I was last year, thinking like, oh, it's in the bag. I think Westbrook almost makes us worse right now. Like the ball just stops.
What a turn in his career from a guy who triple-double every night, all-star, taking teams
The game
deep.
has just changed so much, and when you watch the Lakers play, it's just so stagnant. It's the same thing I was telling my 7-8 boys today.
Yeah.
The ball can't stick. Ball sticks, the game slows down. And when we look at the Warriors, which leads us to our second corner three
go
topic,
right into it if you want. World champ Warriors,
Yeah, so I mean, like, the Warriors, people don't, like, we just watch Steph hit, like, 6 threes a night, 5 threes a night, 7 threes a night. We don't think much of it. We don't, like, he's past Ray Allen. This year, he's going to shatter his record for most threes made in a season. He is undoubtedly the greatest shooter ever, and no one will dispute it. And I honestly think we don't know exactly how Clay hasn't played since June of 2019. Mm-hmm. Now, he's missed a lot, but when you watch his style of play, it's like if Westbrook has suffered those 2 injuries, it'd be a wash. But with Clay's style of play, he's one of the most efficient players ever, number one. And number two, he's probably the second greatest shooter ever. And so he rehabbed, obviously, like with the smartest people in the world.
His was a knee injury?
Well, he tore his ACL in 2019 going up for the dunk in Game 6.
Raptors?
Right? Yes, against the Raptors in the finals, either Game 5 or Game 6. I think it was Game 6. And then as he was rehabbing, he tore his Achilles in his other leg, which is super common. Like DeMarcus Cousins did the same thing, except it was the other way around. Tore Achilles, then tore ACL. So
overcompensating or
100%,
whatever.
100%. So I think he's practicing with the team. So in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, he'll be back. And I don't know, man. The Warriors, like Steph is playing like MVP. 100% is in his sights this year. Secondly, Clay comes back. He'll do his thing. He's so efficient. He's smart. He'll be fine. Draymond clicks with it. Andrew Wiggins is playing like the first-round pick he was supposed to play.
He's playing better, yeah. That's
He's killing it. He's playing so good.
I want him to be
Jordan
good.
Poole has reincarnated himself as mini Steph Curry. Shout out to Levi for that analogy. That was big. And then Gary the Glove, his son, Gary Payton II, is like unbelievable defender. So I don't
Runs
know.
in the family.
I would not be surprised if they cleaned up and won.
Well, and they
Wouldn't
beat the
be surprised.
Raptors, so clearly they're good.
But our Raptors, man, it's a rebuild year.
I
We
know.
got Scotty Barnes. We're getting all these long, lengthy, good shooting young guys. We're not going to tank, but we're not going to do anything this year.
Started like what 7-2, and now they're like 7.
We're 8-10 now.
Yeah,
We're 8 and
exactly.
10,
So
yeah.
it's been a rough couple of weeks for the Raptors, but we can maybe talk about that after. Let's get into Enes Kanter. Is Kanter or Kanter? Kanter, right?
Kanter.
Yes, calling out the GOATs. What's going on with Enes Kanter?
Do we want to get into this?
Well, you have it on the list, so we have to.
So
You put it on the list, Andrew.
Here's the deal. There's whatever side of the aisle politically you're on. The NBA, we all know it. It's really like there's only one side, one story, one take. So anytime that you have someone trying to take another side, another take, it makes news, and generally within a few months, a few years, that player's out of the league.
Right.
So Enes Kanter, I mean, I'd be surprised if he was even on a team next year. He's on the Celtics now, but he's called out, and he's got a compelling argument, man. He's called out Michael Jordan and he's called out LeBron. He's been doing this for a minute, but his biggest criticism is like, LeBron, you say, and there's no bigger LeBron fan than me, but I can see where he's coming from because it actually is pretty frustrating. So we obviously know, like it's not even debatable that no one wants to live in China. It's a modern dictatorship. Like it's common knowledge. And so because of Nike and because of all these interests the NBA has, no one can talk about it. Daryl Morey a few years ago put out a tweet that just said, I support the people in Hong Kong that are asking for basic human rights.
Yeah.
We all would support that. But the NBA said, because that one tweet, they said no NBA. They banned the whole NBA in the whole country. And that's when you had LeBron and get all this criticism. And so Enes Kanter now is coming and saying, LeBron, you say that I'm not going to shut up and dribble. You say all these things. But then when, this is Enes Kanter's tweet, he said, but when the big boss, China, says to shut up and dribble, you shut up and dribble. Mm-hmm. And he's kind of right, because LeBron never criticizes China. And
now we can't talk about China, so we're going to stop. No, I'm kidding. Andrew, keep going.
Anyways,
Sorry.
So, I mean, I don't think anyone living in North America should think that China's a great place to live. Like any place that suppresses people is not a great place. But we've become so reliant on China, and there's so many interests that whether every big company, the NBA, Nike, like
NBA
they can't say anything. Yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen, but all I'm saying is it's a compelling argument. He's kind of called out everyone saying that, listen, you guys say you care about social justice in America, but then you just turn an eye to other places in the world. Like, step it up. And when I hear that, it's like there's no bigger LeBron fan than me, but I have struggled with that because I'm like, LeBron, like, don't, like you're all about it. You made a school, you've done all these things, you're all about it. But like, there's got to come a point where as a society, we can't prioritize money over humans. And it happens too much.
A lot.
Yeah. And it definitely is happening now. And China is the richest country in the entire world now. So I don't see how that's going to end.
Messy.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting. We'll keep an eye on it,
Yeah.
and maybe we'll talk about it in future, updates as we go. I got a couple questions.
Unless
for
China
you.
bans this.
Well, we're going to get shut down.
Yeah.
We're easily getting shut down. We got a couple questions for you, though. From Chad. He's a big Bulls fan. So he says, NBA question. Are the Bulls for real this year? And will they make a solid run in the playoffs if they keep it up? Ball, Levine, DeRozan, among others, are lighting it up. Now, I saw a stat, and I just want to run this by you. DeMar DeRozan has more points in his first, I think it was 16 games with the Bulls, more than any other Bull in history, one more than Michael Jordan in his rookie year. Now, I'm like, okay, well, that's Michael Jordan in his rookie year. DeMar's, 32 now? Like, he should be getting more points than but it's still interesting.
It is interesting. So, if it was 2 weeks ago, I would have said yes. They lost by 30 the other night, and Lonzo had 0. So that wasn't good. But I think they're for real. I'm a huge Lonzo fan. Watch him play. His plus minus is incredibly efficient. He doesn't care about his own accolades. He cares about winning. Zach LaVine and DeRozan are playing really good. Like, I think 100% you can't write them off. Are they good enough to get past the Bucks? Oh, the Bucks are going to figure it out, right? Are they good enough to get past the Bucks? Are they good enough to get past Brooklyn? Like, I don't know.
I guess part 2 to the question is, who's the team in the East that could give the Warriors in the West a run, or somebody from the West?
Yeah, I mean, we still got to say Brooklyn.
Yeah.
It's that right there is fine. I mean, and Philly should be. They should have got rid of Simmons a long time ago. They're so talented, but they'll figure it out. So I still think you gotta put Brooklyn at the top on the East. I still like the Kyrie thing is whatever, but Harden obviously got exposed by the rule change.
The rule change. I've seen video compilations of him.
Like, he got exposed. Just go right now to any app, the Score, TSM, whatever. Go look at Harden's last 10 games of how many free throws he hit. This man got exposed by the rule change. I mean, he's only averaging 21, 22 points, something like that. I mean, he averaged 39 points a game a couple years ago. He averaged the 3rd most points in a season. The only 2 people ahead of him was Wilt Chamberlain and Wilt Chamberlain.
Right.
So
2 Wilt Chamberlain.
So that's because he was shooting 25 free throws.
Right. So that's what I was going to say. I think it was a 1-minute video on TikTok, and there was like 20 times where he jumped up into somebody and then got a call or whatever.
Yeah. Totally.
I was like, oh my gosh, this is hilarious to watch. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
It was a good rule change.
Yeah.
It was a good rule change.
I'm glad they did it. Honestly, I was always bothered by that one because I'm like, you're doing it to yourself. Like
totally.
it always bugged me a little bit. We got to get you out of here because you have another game. But last minute, you're coaching 2 basketball teams over in the Hoop Life League.
Team Yeezy
Ooh.
and Team Strive for Greatness. Now,
did
Team
you name
Yeezy,
them or did the kids name them?
We named them.
You
Coaches
named them?
named them.
Okay.
The team named the plays. So, any Kanye fans? Kanye is my favorite rapper. Listen to this. Our 7-8 boys team's Team Yeezy. Our inbound play is called Kim. Our last minute when we need a bucket is called Gold Digger.
I thought you were going to say Pete Davidson.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I know. Hey?
Right?
You got to hear. So our play when we need a bucket is called Gold Digger. And then our offense we call Donda. So the kids are building it. So it's pretty fun, man.
That's awesome.
It's pretty fun.
I want to see your playbook. Anyways, that's awesome. So you got to win tonight. How's the league going overall? Pretty crazy.
It's good, man. I mean, 29 teams. This is our first year running a league. The league's packed. Like we've had people try to join and we have to send them away because there's no room. And so it's been really good, man. Like. The Hoop Life Center opened on the 12th, and it's just every single night from morning to night. It's been absolutely packed. So
that's great.
It's going good, man.
If you don't follow them already, go check it out. If you're a fan of local basketball or some like really cool facilities, go check out their videos because you're posting videos of the new place all the time, and it looks awesome. So great job. I think we want to get in there sometime and do a show.
An exclusive.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. I know the guys in the back, they're like planning the setup for the show, and they just can't wait to get in there. Literally can't wait. They ask me like every single week. So, anyways, we'll let you go because you got to get back on the court. So, thanks for popping in.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right, check it out. Real Hoop Life on Twitter, Hoop Life on Instagram, everywhere else. And we're going to be back after the break. We're going to talk to our next special guest about the Minnesota Wild, Jessi Pierce, coming up soon.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Peterson Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Peterson Show today.
Everyday Hoop Life.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. IKS Live, the proud producer of The Rod Peterson Show and The Recovery Hour. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
So Janelle Barkman was talking about the Hockey Canada jerseys that they just released for the Olympics, and I just saw them for the first time just now. So you're getting my live reaction when we talk about it.
Your live 15
Oh, here's right here.
reaction.
So here it is. I mean, I just said this before the break. I like the two-tone nature of it. So like the white and red, the black and red, the black and red, I guess. But I like the two-tone nature of it. And I said to Max in the break, like, why do they have to go away from the classic good old Hockey Canada logo? I know, and you said something that's actually pretty, smart for a change.
Yeah. What did I say? I say a lot of smart
Modernizing.
things.
The modernizing thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so this is where the jerseys
I say you say something smart.
Well,
and
I
then
say a lot of smart things. You just don't recognize them anyways. But yeah, no, it's...
Because I'm not smart.
Again, it modernizes something that's classic that, again, the Hockey Canada silhouette, it's iconic. It always will be. It's the face of Hockey Canada. But with that being said, for the type of tournaments that these are and the way that the other countries are going with their jerseys as well, it's not that you're exactly following them, but at the same time, it's you're leaning into the identity of your country without... I guess, again, just putting that stamp on it that nothing's going to change, right? That's what I really like about this kind of take on it. Now, I will say this from a branding perspective. what I don't understand is how Connor McDavid or somebody that's guaranteed already got a spot on the team. Again, injuries can happen, this and that.
John Tavares.
Yeah, he already did he already did the Lululemon thing. Let's just pump the brakes on that. But why not? So I don't know if that was a leak or if that was the official release from Hockey Canada.
Wait, the John Tavares thing?
No, the jerseys. Those
looks
jerseys.
like a leak to me.
Anyways, if that was the leak, okay, pass for Hockey Canada, whatever else. But how I would have liked to see it roll out would have been, okay, you've got 3 of your guaranteed guys decked out in all the different ensembles. It just kind of, again, it just creates that buzz. So again, if that is indeed a leak and not the official release of it, well, then you get a pass. But either way,
I can agree with you on that.
Have Connor McDavid wearing the jersey.
They'll do something special when they actually get it in.
Absolutely.
Jessi is good to go.
Either
apparently.
way, good job, Hockey Canada.
Do you want to get into it?
Well. Absolutely.
You want to go here?
Let's
go.
Where there?
We're going to go. We're going to do it.
We're going live.
We're going to Minnesota.
We're going to Minnesota.
We're going to head down there now because we have our first guest of the night. She is the co-host of the Bar Down Beauties podcast, NHL.com writer, Jessi Pierce. Welcome to the show. Jessi, we're going to be talking about a lot of hockey tonight, but I want to get into something a little different to start it off, and that is your tweet that you sent out the other day about gravy. Let's talk Thanksgiving. Can you tell me about... Now, again, Jessi, we're going to get into some hockey. Again, I said this, but tell me about your Thanksgiving hot takes, because I said this is really interesting to me.
Easily the most controversial take that I think I have ever tweeted out, apparently. It triggered a lot of people. And, I probably kind of expected that. I get that. You guys will love this. As Canadians, though, I do allow gravy on my poutine, right? Like, I do love that.
Thank
that
you.
It's not poutine if there's no gravy.
Yeah, it's just
exactly,
cheese fries.
Right? Which is fine. I love me some cheese curds. That's a whole other thing. But, no, my mashed potatoes, I make some bomb mashed potatoes. They don't need the gravy. I make some bomb turkey. Doesn't need the gravy. Not a gravy person. I understand that that's like the iconic sort of side dish. I think it's a side, right? It's like a side. It's a side to your thing. And I'm not a person. I'm also that weirdo. I hate my food touching. So Thanksgiving has usually been like a huge travesty for me anyway, because I need everything sectioned. Gravy just muddles it all together too. And it's just, it's not my cup of tea. I'm not a fan.
And you had a pie take as well, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember reading correctly. What was your pie take?
I do. And I love me some cherry pie all day, every day. I prefer pie over cake, even. Like, I'm not a big cake person, but I love some cherry pie. I like fruit pies mostly. Apple pie's okay, but pumpkin pie, unless there's a heavy, heavy amount of whipped cream mixed into that sucker, I'll pass on it.
Jessi, just throw some gravy on it. I promise. It's really, really good.
Yeah, you haven't tried pumpkin pie.
That is my nightmare.
My favorite picture is you're not eating pumpkin pie unless it looks like this, and it's like literally like a block of whipped cream with like a little.
It looks like the
of
Michelin Man with feet. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. The Minnesota Wild, Jessi, they're off to a hot start. Now, when you were on the Rod Peterson show with us a few weeks ago, I think the Wild were off to a 4-1 start. Clearly, things have continued to go pretty good for them in the Central Division. So I guess give us a synopsis of the first 20-ish games or so of the season.
Yeah, I mean, like you had mentioned, they started off hot. They were looking really good. Minnesota was all on board. Like, we're going undefeated. We're winning 82 games this year. Get the parade route going. Kirill Kaprizov is here. It did turn out that way, right? They lost a couple games. I think the biggest thing that you could put a mark on the Minnesota Wild is you could call them resilient if you want to be positive. You could also call them inconsistent if you want to be a little bit more negative. They seem to be very, very inconsistent. The one constant rather is the first period seems to be a very flat period. Minnesota a lot of times tends to show up in the third, which is great if you're a fan and you're watching them come back after they pull a goalie for a 6-on-5 and score 2 goals and force overtime or come within a goal of winning. It's exciting hockey, but it's also, you'd love to see a complete 60. I can name 2 games, I think, this season where I've seen Minnesota play truly a complete 60. And again, some of those comebacks have turned in their favor. A lot of those comebacks, in fact, have turned in their favor. But the biggest question is, how sustainable is that really? You can't continue to do it. Somehow they've made it work this far along into the season because, again, they're winning out and they're doing well. But it's got to give. They got to figure out how to put together the full 60 in order to really make their mark in a tough Central. We all know how the Central goes. It's up and down, and you need to grab every point that you possibly can. So you're going to have to get the first period start figured out a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And I was going to say 18 games in, they're 11-6-1, 23 points. Currently, I guess, on top of the Central, but there's 4 points between them and Colorado in fifth. So it's a really tight Central, which includes Max's Nashville Predators. And I'll let him get to that in a second because I know he has a kind of a related question. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff that kind of happened in the offseason. A couple of really key guys who have been there for a while have moved on. There's some young guys emerging. What would you say has been kind of a couple of really big positives early on? Because I know you said the year's inconsistency, there's slow starts, but what has been a couple of really glimmering, hopeful things going on?
I mean, I think the depth. You had mentioned some of the young guys, right? There is excitement coming and brewing down in Iowa in the American Hockey League with Matt Boldy, who unfortunately was hurt during preseason there. So he's down in Iowa. Marco Rossi still down in Iowa. Two players that have been circled on rosters and at training camp as guys that are going to be very impact players for the Wild down the road. I mean, of course, there's chances that we'll see glimpses of them this season, but those are two certainly big futures. Ryan Hartman, though, I think he is my big shining star. I mean, he's consistent. There's a guy that can score pretty consistently, and he's scoring big goals, and it's so much fun to watch. He's a very versatile player. He can be on the wing. He can be up the middle. I personally like him better as a center, which is an area that, as we all know, Minnesota desperately needs to find a true number one center. Not saying that Ryan Hartman's that guy, but he's definitely provided a great spark. He's cheap too, which is really, really fun. Like, he's very underpaid for how well he's performing. So, I mean, again, that speaks to the depth. You also look at the fourth line, Nico Sturm, Brandon Duhaime, who made his NHL debut this year. Even Nick Bukestad jumping in there as well. I mean, those fourth line guys and even the third line are doing really well, which is even more important when you have guys like Kirill Kaprizov, who continue to be snake bitten, and Kevin Fiala, who's really struggling to find the goals. I think the depth is really the biggest part that's really surprised me a little bit and really given me a lot of hope for this Minnesota Wild squad moving forward.
Well, Jessi, the connections certainly don't stop for the Minnesota Wild and Nashville Predators. You know the old saying, or I guess the new saying, the road to Minnesota goes through Nashville, with ownership all the way down behind the bench to a few players on the squad. Nick Bonino with a pit stop there last year. Kevin Fiala being a younger piece there, in addition to the aforementioned Ryan Hartman. But the Fiala slow start. Still 12 points in 18 games. Now, we are starting to see some rumors flying. Is there a lot of smoke to this? Is there something that we should really be paying attention for in the immediate future from Bill Guerin when it comes to this player who's, again, still younger, 1 year, $5.1 million and an RFA at the end of the year? But what do you make of Kevin Fiala, and is he the most expendable piece on this Wild team at the moment?
I mean, I think he's going to be the one that will yield you the most return. So if they're looking for somebody that can come in immediately, Kevin Fiala is the guy that would go. I mean, beyond kind of his lack of production early on, again, we saw what he was capable of doing last season and even a little bit the year before. But I think really it started in this offseason when the Minnesota Wild decided to take Kevin Fiala to arbitration and said, hey, man, we're going to force this on you. And then, while they're signing big contracts and big checks to guys like Joel Eriksson-Ek, who got an 8-year deal, Kirill Kaprizov, obviously, who's got the $9 million a year, Kevin Fiala got the 1 year for 5.5, which kind of says a lot about what management's thinking about him, right? Are they willing to move forward? So, I mean, I think even that offseason kind of, not tirade, but, some of that stuff that happened in the offseason is even more telling. I mean, Kevin Fiala had mentioned to us at training camp that he was coming in with, as quote, fire in his eyes, because he did probably take a little bit of offense that Bill Guerin and management didn't want to lock him in for a longer term deal, because he's a guy that is looking for a home. He wants to make Minnesota a home, I believe. But I don't know that Minnesota necessarily wants that. And as we see kind of a couple more rifts starting to form, Fiala's been taken off the power play. He's been taken off the penalty kill. He's been short shifted a little bit too, and pulled out in circumstances. And I think a lot of that has to do with not necessarily just, again, his lack of production, but also part of it, Kevin plays a very mental game, and he gets, he needs to mature still a little bit. I think we are seeing growths and strides, but I think sometimes that immaturity comes out in stupid penalties and in, passes that are being forced and in gripping the stick too tightly. So I think that's a part of the reason you're seeing them pull back on Fiala and just trying to figure out what to do. They've tried to give him different pieces to get him going. It hasn't worked. So I think that's why you're seeing the rumors fly around about JT Miller or Bo Horvat in exchange for Fiala, which I think would be a fair trade. I'm curious to see what kind of continues to transpire about that.
That sounds really intriguing, and I'm going to be refreshing Twitter a lot now that you mentioned it. One guy that I've always been a little fascinated by, just in the NHL in general, but now he's on the Wild, is Matt Zuccarello. And this guy, in the last 56 games that he's played, he has 48 points. It seems like when he got back in the lineup last year, Kaprizov really started blasting off. And that's just what I noticed. But from what you've seen, what does he mean for this lineup? He's a little dynamic, kind of a feisty little guy, and he just seems to do nothing but put up solid point production.
I mean, the vision that he has on the ice and the way that he can find Kaprizov, like those two, the chemistry is absolutely undeniable. Again, unfortunately, it hasn't completely transpired in more goals for Kirill, but Zuccarello is still setting him up. And, when the two of them are together, it's dynamic. It's really, really fun to watch. Again, you're still missing that guy up the middle that can kind of be that finishing piece that they both need. But no, Zuccarello's been really fun to watch. He's great on the power play as well. He's kind of their PP specialist, I would say. And it, took him a little bit to get going, but I think once he did, he really hasn't stopped. I mean, you noticed when he was out in COVID protocol early on in the season, he's a guy that the Minnesota Wild absolutely need. And I think he's starting to just feel in general more comfortable here in Minnesota. This was his first training camp because he didn't come in until later last year. So you can see he's really acclimated. He really loves Kirill. They're buddies. I love that they hype each other up all the time. I'm just looking forward to more goal connections on behalf of Kaprizov because obviously a lot of pressure on that kid to put the puck in the net.
So Jessi, and again, I can't help but talk about it. Whenever we go up and down this roster, there's Nashville Predators connections absolutely littered throughout it. And Nashville Predators Twitter was ablaze when Rem Pitlick was placed on waivers kind of midway through camp this year. 7 points in 9 games, has scored some big goals. What have you made of Rem Pitlick's transition to Minnesota, albeit in a small sample size to begin?
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, it's a small sample size, and he has had challenge after challenge thrown his way. I mean, I remember when they scooped him up on waivers and Richard Park, who had scored, the infamous goal for Minnesota back against the Colorado Avalanche in the Western Conference Finals there. He was the guy that said, I want Rem no matter what. So they kind of just
Okay, so Jessi, I don't know if she can still hear us, but we lost her mic right in mid-sentence. So something happened there. We'll get her reconnected. We'll get her back on, and we'll let her finish about Rem.
I got to know that answer, man.
I know.
I'm not kidding you when I said that Twitter exploded Nashville Predators universes, and
I am not even a fan of the Preds, and I'm not even, I don't follow nearly as many accounts that you follow. Mm-hmm. I saw it.
Yeah, exactly. And again, this is a guy that the organization poured a lot into, and it was just very interesting to see how that went about. And I mean, it's one of those things where, again, you've seen it time again in Toronto. You don't think a guy will get claimed. There's always that verbal agreement with the GMs. There's Adam Brooks. But Rem Pitlick was a guy that a lot of Nashville Predators fans were starting to see as, this could be a guy that at the very least, could be a middle six forward for years to come. A guy that would have been on a cheap, inexpensive deal. A guy that still, again, had that potential to put the puck in the net. And we're seeing it in Minnesota. He's got that chip on his shoulder. He wants to prove that he can stick in this league. And again, with a hat trick in one of his games already, man, oh man, it's, again, to my chagrin, the Minnesota Wild make yet another stealthy move with the Nashville Predators. But hey, we got Mikael Granlund. So
did Frederick Gaudreau play in Nashville too?
Freddie Gaudreau did play in Nashville, yeah.
So he's another one. I mean, it is interesting how
honestly,
many
when you look up and down this lineup, man, it is absolutely crazy to see the connections.
Who are the management connections?
So they had who was the 1 year there?
The quick 1 year guy.
Yeah, the quick. I can't remember. Again, he was quick. He was in and out like a fiddler's elbow. I can't remember exactly who it is.
Jessi would know.
Exactly, Jessi will know. But Craig Leopold, the owner.
Yeah, the owner.
And Dean Evison was the coach of the Milwaukee Admirals for 6+ seasons. So I mean, again, it's just so many connections to the Nashville Predators up and down throughout the lineup and just the organization as a whole.
All right, well, let's get Jessi back on. We should have her. Jessi, who was the
Paul Fenton.
Paul Fenton. There we go.
Thank
you.
See,
it was a quick stop. It was not very memorable.
No, I've heard.
I just wanted to get you guys really hooked, and then I was like, all right, we're out.
Yeah, we're out. See ya.
We'll talk about Rem in a minute. No, Paul Fenton is
Yes, and I've heard
Not
some
quite
stories.
liked here.
There was a
Yeah.
really good article about Paul Fenton that I read that
really
was really
not so
good.
good article.
Well, yeah, it was good for content purposes, but yeah, probably not for him. Anyways, go ahead. Max was really foaming at the mouth with this Rem Pitlick talk.
I know, right? No, I mean, so yeah, they scooped him up, and again, it was surprising in respect to the other guys that had been working their butt off. I equated it to, I'm sure you guys have seen Miracle, when they bring Timmy Haar in, and all of a sudden you're like, well, what the heck? He hasn't been with us the whole time. And that was no disrespect to Rem. I just didn't know much more about him beyond what he had done with the University of Minnesota Gophers. And, there's the whole Minnesota loves Minnesota boys. Alex Goligoski, Nick Bukestad, they're prime examples of that. And while that's all sweet, you're always kind of like, are we just doing this because he's a Minnesota guy? Apparently he can score too, which is really fantastic to see. Hat trick in his first game. I mean, again, the challenge is being he comes in late to camp, he goes into COVID protocol, but that hasn't slowed him one bit. He looks absolutely tremendous out there. Again, he's another piece of that depth that I had been talking about. And you're glad it worked out because they couldn't put him back on waivers because you knew Nashville was coming right back for him had they done that. So I'm really glad that it worked out, especially for some of those younger guys that are now in Iowa as a result of it. But, I think Rem Pitlick has really fit very, very nicely into this lineup.
So we talked about kind of the Paul Fenton in the 1 year, and there's been some changes with the Wild recently, management and coaching staff. And obviously we talked about the player changes as well with Suter and Parise out the door, among others. But Dean Evason is a guy who really came in and seems to have kind of set the tempo with this franchise. In the bubble season, to me, I thought they overachieved a little bit, but every time I heard about them and, heard people like yourself who know what they're watching and talking about, it's like, no, these guys are actually kind of the real deal. And I was like, okay, I feel like I just don't see it. Where's it coming from? And I feel like Dean Evason might be a big part of that. Can you maybe touch on that?
I mean, I think you're right. And, credit to him because I kind of had low expectations for him. I was like, he's not going to make it past intern. That intern tag is going to stick. They're going to find somebody else. I mean, just because, again, you'd never seen him really perform at that level. You didn't know what he was all about. And, he kind of just gave you the same Muldrum answers of, well, anybody in a Wild jersey can play with anybody in a Wild jersey. And, hey, we're a team and yada, yada. And sure, but it's worked. I mean, not to say that teams of past weren't cohesive, but this is the first time in my 6 years of covering the Minnesota Wild that I do see a very cohesive unit. The guys are really in it together. And sure, COVID years probably made that a lot harder, right, for teams to come together. But there's just something different about guys that are willing to play for each other. And that just feels so apparent. And that's a big thing that Dean continues to push. And it sounds, very youthful in nature. And it's kind of, roll your eyes. Oh, sure. But it works. I mean, they want to go out and play for a guy like Dean. And, and I think the other big thing that Dean Evason does that I haven't seen a coach really do here yet in Minnesota or really in a lot of places is that he's willing to make the tough calls and bench a guy. He's willing to sit Kevin Fiala. He's willing to move Kirill Kaprizov to the third line because he needs a kick in the butt. He's willing to pull a guy like Zach Parise out of the lineup and bench him as a healthy scratch. I mean, that takes some cojones to do, right? And I mean, it sends a message up and down the lineup that you need to earn your spot. I mean, Billy Guerin starting up with him as GM, he said he wants to create competition. He wants guys to be competing for those spots and to prove that they deserve it. And that trickles down to Dean, who also makes that competition really thrive. And, I think it's just really worked out. These guys want to play for him. A lot of them have prior connections with him, Kevin Fiala being one. Brandon Duhaime knows him a little bit. So, I mean, that I think helps too. But yeah, Dean has really done a great job in kind of shifting the culture. And he hates when we say that, but that's really what it is. He's shifted this culture in Minnesota, which then has translated onto on ice success as well.
So, Jessi, we've kind of covered at least a little bit of everything when it comes to the forward corps and behind the bench and everything. But last year, a big storyline with the Minnesota Wild, and I don't want to say overachieved, but again, as you alluded to with the reasons of maybe the lack of certainty with Dean Evason, what he would be able to accomplish, the goaltending. Kaapo Kähkönen, Cam Talbot. Obviously, it's getting the wins to start the year, but certainly not the most stable in net, at least not what we saw last year from them. Can you comment on maybe what's been a little bit different that's transpired in a bit of a slower start despite piling up some wins?
Yes, and I'm going to have to record this because I have been fighting with my co-host about this for the past few weeks because she's very all on board thinking the goaltending's fine, whereas I have, since the beginning, been a little questionable. I'm not as secure in this tandem as I was last year. Now, a lot of that goes into, let's start with Kaapo Kähkönen, right, who played outstanding when he absolutely needed to, when Cam Talbot was hurt or when Cam Talbot was in protocol, because going into last season, Bill Guerin made it very, very apparent, in fact, came out right and said Cam Talbot is our number one. So that was going to be the goal. Cam gets hurt. Cam goes into COVID protocol. Kaapo has to step in. A rookie goaltender has to step in, and he does absolutely phenomenal. Did just a fantastic job. However, as Cam started to make his way back, we saw Cam really step up and perform as the goalie that he had sworn he was going to be in the offseason when Bill Guerin signed him and brought him into the organization. So that was really great. Then you saw Kaapo kind of falter. He, lets in 9 goals in Colorado, lets in 8 goals in St. Louis, and he just never really found his footing back. That continued on to the first couple of games of season. He finally got a win under his belt a couple games ago, 2 in a row, in fact, which was really, really great for him. You could tell that he needed that confidence boost. I mean, he's a very calm goaltender, which I think is really, really nice. I know the defense really appreciates that about him, but he still is a very rookie goaltender. So you have that as your backup. And then Cam still looks a little shaky to start this year out. I mean, I'm hoping he can figure it out. It's still early. It's still a small sample size, as we can say, up and down the lineup. But yeah, I mean, Cam Talbot doesn't look like the guy that he was last year, the guy that really helped carry this team. He certainly hasn't lost any games, but he hasn't stolen any games either, in my opinion. And I think with the defensive changes that have taken place this year, whether it was Ryan Suter going out, you don't have that third pairing of Ian Cole and Carson Soucy, who were so strong last year. You're seeing the puck get past a little bit more because you're seeing some of those letdowns maybe on that third pairing, and Cam has to be stout and ready every night. And I just don't have the confidence in him. He reminds me a lot of former Minnesota Wild goaltender Devin Dubnyk, actually, in some of the goals that he lets in, where it's like, oh, you should have had that. But then he'll follow it up with like a ridiculous save, and that's all fine and well. But yeah, I mean, I need to see him steal a game or two before I really start to think that Talbot is, because otherwise this tandem to me is just kind of so-so. It's not terrible. It's just not what it was last year.
Talbot's sitting at a .905 save percentage as of today with a .295, whereas Kähkönen's an .870 and a .330. So you definitely want those numbers to get up. And just talking about Kähkönen, we had a lot of debates in the offseason that he was going to be the guy that Seattle was going to take in the draft. They end up taking, you mentioned Carson Soucy. And one thing that the Wild have always had for the last multiple years is a really good group on the blue line, for the most part. Brodin and Spurgeon have been there forever. Dumba,
Ryan Suter
among others. Ryan Suter, I guess.
Right, hey?
But they always had a really solid, group. Maybe it wasn't superstar level, but really good. Is that still the same, even though they lost Carson Soucy? You said Ian Cole's out the door. They brought in Goligoski, a couple other guys to kind of fill some spots. How has that been?
I mean, it's been good. Ryan Suter obviously leaves a pretty big hole to fill. The minutes that man ate up, I mean, that was a lot. But Alex Goligoski has really slotted in very nicely against Jaron Spurgeon for that first pair. So that's been really good. I think the biggest difference you're seeing in this defense, and again, that is a credit to Dean Evson's coaching, is the way that they push the pace. With Ryan Suter, you saw a much slower defense, they'd stay back. The back checking they weren't as confident, it seemed, in the back checking necessarily. Whereas this offense pushes the pace. Goligoski is very ready to step in and take some shots, whereas that used to be just a Matt Dumba thing. None of the other defensemen really got involved in the play up on offense. So I think that's the biggest change. But I think Goligoski and Spurgeon now obviously out with a lower body who's week to week, hopefully not too serious. It doesn't sound like it, but that's going to hurt. They're really good. Broads and Dumba have been playing together forever, so they know each other really well. The thing with Dumba naturally is big risk, big reward. I mean, he's a guy that can turn the puck over just atrociously, but he can also do really good things with it too. So, I mean, it's kind of a give and take there. And then, Dmitry Kulikov and John Merrill have been surprisingly good. I think, again, they were a pair that I was kind of like, I don't know. It felt like Guerin went to the recycle bin for them and kind of just got them at the cheap. And but they performed much better than I anticipated. But now, you're looking to see, is Jordy Ben coming in, which he has not been performing well at all. He's played just 2 games for the Minnesota Wild. Or do you look at a guy like Callan Addison, who they did recall from Iowa, who's still a young guy? And how does that kind of fit in with Spurgeon? But all in all, it's a different look defensively. Again, a much more offensively charged defense, which is something that Minnesota is not used to seeing, going back to the Jacques Lemieux days, right? I think Jacques would be cringing watching the defense play nowadays in Minnesota. But it's definitely given, it's a more exciting Minnesota team too, which is always nice, a breath of fresh air.
For our WHL fans, Kalen Addison, of course, former Lethbridge Hurricane, if I'm not mistaken, involved with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and then did he get drafted by Minnesota?
Yep, Pittsburgh
first, and then traded.
No, he was drafted by Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and was that in the Zucker trade?
That was in the Zucker trade. Yep.
Look at me. My brain still works.
Look at you. Yeah. Good work.
One thing I just wanted to bring up, because you mentioned Matt Dumba. He was a guy, and then I think we're going to have one more question for you. But Matt Dumba was a guy. He was getting traded every week up here in Canada. I guess it's different up here in Canada because every team in Canada is always trading for everyone up here. So Matt Dumba was the guy for literally the Canucks fans thought they were getting him, the Oilers fans for a bit, the Flames fans, literally every fan base. As a Leafs fan, he was very high on our list every year. Is that kind of settled down? Because, again, there's been a lot of rumors about him, but I haven't heard as much lately. Is that settled down? Is he kind of maybe going to stay there now?
It seems so. Yeah, I mean, it was rampant down here. I think we had to ask him about it constantly, and he's like, I don't know, guys. And we're like, we know you know. He's very active on social media. Right. We know he's aware of it. No, but it's definitely quieted down. I think other players have really taken the attention off of him. Not that he's completely out of the wheelhouse. There's been quite a few goals that have been a result, again, of some of those turnovers where it's just he's not smart play. But I think the difference is, going back to the growth and maturity. Matt Dumba's really matured. I mean, he got the A on his chest for a reason this year after the departure of Ryan Suter and Zach Parise. And in particular, one of those goals that he did let in where Minnesota lost by a goal, the accountability for him to stand up there and say, you know what, that was completely on me. And again, it's not, because Wild should have scored another goal regardless. But for him to take that accountability, I think it's really gotten kind of the fan base and management back on the Matt Dumba train. So I don't think we'll probably be hearing too much of those rumors swirl up, especially while Kevin Fiala or a guy like Jordan Greenway continues to kind of take that away and take the attention off of Dums for that.
Well, I tell you what, Jessi, greatly appreciate your time tonight, and I apologize for the Thanksgiving pun, but thank you for talking turkey with us tonight. With that being said, though, it's National Jersey Day here in Canada. We are also celebrating a holiday. It seems to be anyways, as the Team Canada jerseys for the Olympics have leaked online. I'm not too sure if it's been an official release or not.
Well, I don't know. Can you guys flash that up for Jessi in case she hasn't seen it yet, the Team Canada jerseys? Jessi, you'll see it over your face there. Those are the Olympic jerseys, allegedly.
Okay.
So
we're loving black, huh? Like people are just all in on the all black situation. Can we talk about Jersey?
Well, we showed that earlier.
Exactly,
so I don't know. Flash up the New Jersey jersey with the jersey on the jersey.
And who just happens to be playing the Minnesota Wild tomorrow?
There's that.
Right? But the New Jersey Devils.
Oh yeah.
So
exactly.
What are your thoughts on this one before we bring up our next jersey that we want to talk about?
I mean, I go back and forth, right? We get so on the NHL for being kind of so boring and not trying new things. So they tried something new. I'll leave it at that. I'm technically employed by the NHL, so no. I mean,
great job.
I don't hate it as much as everybody else does, but it leaves a lot left on the table. I think it's just kind of very.
I said this to Max earlier. I said once I saw players in it and with their names and numbers and everything, it grew a little on me, but it definitely, there was a bit of a shock and awe thing going on at the beginning, I think.
Yeah, and Jessi, we'll just leave it at the fact of it looks like gravy on your Thanksgiving dinner. We'll just leave people to insinuate it at that. But anyways, the Minnesota Wild obviously have a new jersey that they released in the summer ahead of the Winter Classic this coming winter at Target Field. What do you make of those jerseys?
You can flash that one up too, guys. There it is. Look at Jared.
It's grown on me. I like a lot of elements, but I think, and I like the full package with the breezers, which I know you guys call them pants, but that's wrong. They're called breezers. With the breezers, with the socks,
I didn't even know that
with
was
the gloves. It's a thing. I didn't either until I had some Canadian friends, and they're like, "What are you talking about?"
Well, I didn't know what you meant either. So that's interesting.
Yeah, they're hockey pants. That's what we call it. It's a Minnesota thing, I guess. We like to be different. Teaching you something new. No, together as the full package, it looks sharp. I think where it kind of got me, and I was there for the unveiling, it's a lot. It's very, very busy. Like they were really pulling in all of kind of the 1920s, and they were trying to, make Minneapolis and St. Paul, which if you guys aren't aware, people, they're two very different cities in Minnesota, and people get very upset about that. It's like calling Minnesota mini. It starts a whole thing. They're very separate. Yes.
I've learned so much in this last 2 minutes.
Yeah. We'll have to do a full episode where I just teach you guys about Minnesota hockey culture, right?
Yeah.
No, so I mean, I like it though. I like what they were trying to go for. And again, as the complete package, I think it'll look really nice. It just is a little busy for me. What did you guys think?
Well, sorry, Clark, elbow patches or no elbow patches, Jessi. That's the kicker for me. Is it could have done without those. Like you said, it's too much extras.
Yeah.
It's just
the one that got me was the chest stripe. That's
stripe.
The one that got me.
Yes.
The rest of the stripes I'm fine with, I think, but the chest stripe threw me off.
But if you take the chest stripe out, then you can actually make the C on Spurgeon's sweater look like an actual C as well. We're just going to dissect the entire thing here, Jessi.
Let's redesign it.
You're not wrong. Yeah, just redesign it. That's what was terrible. It was kind of funny because so they had these designed before the last Winter Classic that got shut down. So it's like they couldn't go back and change anything.
Oh,
and
look at this. So we got the double side. There's the elbow patches you were asking for.
Yeah, those elbow patches are just...
Yeah. And again, to me, if they just took the top stripe off, I feel like it'd just be that much better, but I don't know. Anyways, Jessi, we should let you go. I know it's a big week for you down there, so we'll let you get back to the non-gravy Thanksgiving. And we'll hopefully do this again because this was fantastic.
Thank you very much, Jessi.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thanks,
Have a good
Jessi.
one.
All right, and our guests, as always, are brought to you by our friends and your friends, hopefully, one day at IKS Media, IKS Live, bringing you the best in broadcasting, live events, video screens, live entertainment, and so much more. Visit iksmedia.ca, not .com.
Why'd you drop the hottest ticket in town thing?
It's still in there. I haven't finished my read yet. Do you want me to finish it first?
Just be better.
For more information on how they can make your event the hottest ticket in town. See, it's right there.
I love that line.
You just let me finish.
Who wrote that?
It's in their slogan.
I love it.
I just stole it from the website.
Hottest ticket in town. That's great.
Technically, I work for them, so I mean, I should know it.
You should.
But, also, I got this one. Always the best seats in the house at IKS Media.
Nice.
We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, I want to get into the Canucks. I want to get into the Islanders. We got to make our NFL picks for Week 12. And we got the Bluebird block with actual Blue Jays stuff going on and Major League Baseball stuff going on.
It's going to be a jam-packed segment.
What time is it?
Jordan, your birthday was last week,
Lindsay's here at least, right? So you guys are spending time together. This is great. Okay, we're going to go to a break.
We're terrible.
We'll see you in 2.5 minutes.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Peterson Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Peterson Show today.
Everyday hoop life.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. IKS Live, the proud producer of The Rod Peterson Show and The Recovery Hour. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar Buying Group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
So Max is all like fist pumping over here. He's like, I got news. I'm like, can you say it? He's like, no. So I guess you won't get
not
to
that
hear
guy,
it.
pal. Not that guy. I guess I am that guy.
I guess.
Yeah.
By the way, Jessi Pierce, massive shout out. I just texted.
Fantastic.
She texted me immediately and said, that was fantastic. I said, you got to get you back on.
Oh,
She just said,
absolutely.
hell yeah, anytime.
She was fantastic, man. That was great.
Put her
It was
on the
excellent.
list.
Yes.
She's
Joe
coming
from
back
the couch,
for
though.
sure. Now, we wanted to get back to, we had like 5 topics we didn't get to in the opening, which happens almost every week. But we want to get into the Vancouver
You're
Canucks.
saying we talk a lot.
Yes. Yes, precisely.
Jordan, do we talk a lot?
We're vehement talkers. I'm not capitulating to you
Us
here,
and
Max.
Joe from
I'm
the
gonna,
couch.
Yeah, and Joe from the couch. Yeah. So literally nobody got that joke except for you and me. The Islanders and the Canucks. Okay, these are the 2 things we want to get into. Let's start with
that's
the
another
Canucks
joke.
because their logo's on
Oh,
the screen.
whoops.
The Vancouver Canucks are. I've heard that it's gotten down now to people in the office aligning themselves with different people in the office who they think are not going to get fired. That is not a good place to be in.
No.
For any organization in any industry, let alone in hockey. Francisco Aquilini is getting involved. I saw a great interview, if you're really interested in getting a really inside look at how Canucks fans feel. The hockey guy, Shannon, was on with the Steve Dangle podcast yesterday. So shout out to those guys. Go watch it if you'd like. Shannon basically said, like, fans just want a direction. Tell us what you're doing because we really don't know. And they're worse in the power play. They're worse in penalty kill, worse in goals scored, worse in defensive numbers, worse in goaltending numbers. For a season, I thought they were going to be actually okay with a good young forward group and everything, new defensemen, everything. Thatcher Demko another year. Halak coming in. No. What do you like?
So I don't know. This is going to be tough to boil down in a couple of minutes, but I think I was listening to the same place of where you got that type.
Elliot Friedman.
Let's
I think it was Elliot
just
Friedman.
let's give him the credit.
Shout out to
Friedman.
Elliot.
Shout out to Elliot.
If you
Jeff
haven't heard
Merrick.
of him, go follow him. It's
Yeah.
Freege HN.
He's probably checking in on the show. But
Yeah,
anyways,
sorry, Freege.
So like you alluded to, new goaltender, new defensive corps, some new forwards. They got rid of 10 pieces. They turned over half
Yeah.
the team, Clark. That's the other thing I think that people, and again, especially for Vancouver now, the pieces that they brought in would indicate to you that, you know what, they're going to be a good team, right? We look at Connor Garland. He's had a pretty good start despite the wins and losses. OEL, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, sorry for the acronym, but I mean, maybe he hasn't quite been as advertised, taking him a minute to get his feet wet. And I mean, it's always a little bit tougher to get started when your team is having a tough time getting started. But by all accounts, this was a team that should have looked to contend in the Pacific Division that we know it. We didn't expect to see the Ducks be swimming near the top and the Canucks be floundering near the bottom of that Pacific Ocean. Sorry, I saw a really good meme about
Good job.
all the sea creatures being at the bottom
I like
of the
it.
ocean. That was
Maybe there's
fun.
a Little Mermaid meme in there we can
There's
make.
all of them. But anyway, so Elias Pettersson, right, misses camp, misses significant time last year with a wrist injury, and he's only got, 9 points in 18 games. I mean, it kind of starts and ends right there with the lack of offense that you're getting out of the new superstar forward. I'm really having trouble speaking tonight.
It's okay.
New
We're in
superstar
the second
forward
half of the show.
exactly that you're paying superstar type money to. He's got to be a guy that night in, night out that you can rely upon, that can step up when you're down a goal. And the other thing too, the penalty kill has been abysmal.
60%.
They couldn't kill a penalty to save their
Some
lives. They
power
really
plays
can't.
have better percentages than their penalty kill has.
And it's sad. And again,
That's not
how
true.
do you win hockey games that way? How do you do it?
You don't.
You can't. When you're giving up guarantee, you're putting yourself -1, -2 every single game. It's really tough to win
And
hockey games.
if
that
I can
way.
cut in, the stat that I heard on the interview with Shannon, 19 games, 19 first period goals.
Yeah.
They're constantly down early.
Always.
And
again,
that's not easy.
How do you come from behind? every single night. It just
every night.
wears on you.
Yeah, mentally.
You change your game plan entirely.
Just to update, 10 points in 19 games for Pettersson, but only 3 goals, I think, is the key because he's a 40-goal guy. He's not on that pace. And the one thing that's interesting, JT Miller, he's the guy that missed practice today, and everyone's like, oh, they're going to trade JT Miller. He's leading the team in points. Point per game, 19 points.
And he's a vocal leader in that room, too.
Yeah, and he's been really good there the last few years.
He really has, since he came over from Tampa.
You made a great point, and I want to let you say it again. Why won't they trade somebody right now? You made a good point before the show. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Oh, again, I make so many good points. I struggle to recollect them. But anyways.
Jim Benning.
Oh, Jim Benning. Yes, absolutely. So going back to Peter Chiarelli's era, if people can remember that short stint that he had in Edmonton, I guess it was a little bit long for some folks signing the Lucic contract and then the Koskinen deal. But if everybody infamously remembers, that was his last move was Mikko Koskinen right before he got booted out the door. So when you're looking at a guy like JT Miller and the type of trade value that he could get back, whether it be future assets, because this slow start, it's going to warrant one hell of a run that I'm not too sure if they're going to be able to pull themselves out of to make the playoffs. This is going to be a deal, if you do trade JT Miller, that impacts your franchise potentially for a couple years in the futures that you could get back. So with him on the hottest seat that there possibly could be in one of the toughest markets in the NHL, they're literally calling for his head at the stadium. So are you going to let him make that trade? I don't necessarily think so. So I think we maybe pump the brakes on if anything's going to happen. I think Jim Benning goes before JT Miller goes.
Yeah, and if I was Jim Benning and I had a green light to make a move, I'd be trading a guy like Brock Besser before I trade a guy like JT Miller personally. I mean, I personal preference, but he's a free agent at the end of the year. JT Miller's got another year in his contract at a really nice rate. He has been so good. I don't know. I mean, it's not looking good either way. And like you said, I don't know if he's going to get a chance to do it. So
Brock Besser, RFA, so you do have some team control.
A little bit of that. But you'd also probably get some good value because of that,
absolutely.
Too.
Yeah, again, though, what's his point totals to start the year?
8 points in 16 games, and he struggled last year. He's had some injury issues, but he is also still a former All-Star Game MVP, a former Rookie of the Year candidate not that long ago.
He had 49 points in 56 games last year.
There you go. But he had some injury stuff going on, didn't he? How many games did he play?
56, all of them.
Yeah, he had some injury issues. He was hurt the whole year.
Sorry,
he played through it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He has had injuries.
He
has had.
You are correct in saying that. Yes,
Sorry.
Previously to.
Thank you for correcting me.
Sorry.
No, you're right. But then you saw one of the big things that we talked about, and I know we're sticking on the Canucks here, but I said personally, I remember saying this word for word, one of the better dynamic top nines that I can remember in the recent Canucks history since the Sedin era, I would say. And, you see a guy like Vasily Podkolzin, who's a rookie, so we can't there's a lot of pressure on him too. 4 points in 17 games. They bring in Oliver Ekman-Larsson, 4 points in 19 games. Jason Dickinson, they traded
that guy
for.
You expected to be a difference maker out the shoot, and turned over Nate Schmidt, who's actually had a decent start in Winnipeg.
Right. Jason Dickinson, who was brought in to be, I think at the time, he was brought in to be the third-line center, 3 points in 17 games. Tanner Pearson, 6 points in 19.
And this is a team that's hamstrung themselves, even going back to the Tyler Toffoli mess, right? Like this is where.
Well, you mentioned 10 guys. Let's name some of them. Toffoli's out. They got Beagle out. They got
Roussel.
Beagle, but Beagle's depth. Roussel,
Louis Eriksson. They got rid of all of their bad contracts in one trade, and all it cost them was Dylan Guenther.
Right.
I mean, really, at the end
7
of the
years
day.
or 6 or whatever of Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
Well, again, that shouldn't. At the time, that was a great move.
Yeah,
people were
Edler,
praising
though.
Jim Benning.
Edler was a big guy.
Amazing how
Schmidt
20
was
games
in and
can
out.
change that.
So Markstrom, I guess, was last year, but Holtby, I should say.
It's amazing to see how many guys, though, that have thrived in other organizations since they've left Vancouver and have been able to sign deals that would have been considered team friendly for the Canucks to maybe chomp on.
Yeah, they could have. And I think the one point that really stuck with me with the Shannon interview on Steve Dangle podcast, shouting them out a lot, but they deserve it, is he said that, what was I going to get at now? He said,
Clark, hold on, let me help you. Clark, you had a really good
point
before
about?
the show. I'm supposed to remind you of it now. What was it that you said?
Yeah, what were we talking about? Shannon, he said something that was really great. I can't remember now. I lost it. How about that? That sucks. It was good. That's why it stuck with me.
So as we segue from the mess that is
the Islanders.
I can't speak tonight. The Islanders, exactly. Yeah,
the
let's
Islanders. The Islanders. It'll come to me as we go. The Islanders go on a 13-game road trip to start the season, They open up a brand new $1 billion stadium, which by all accounts is unbelievably nice. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that, but they lose in terrible fashion 2 games in a row to open.
They need Nassau, man. I don't know what it is.
To open
that barn.
Their home stand, I guess. So,
could you imagine? They go 0 for 41 in this brand new building. Could you imagine?
Islanders fans.
I know it's never going to happen, but could you imagine the Nassau Coliseum absolute devotees in that?
They'd have something to say.
Oh, that'd be the greatest story ever.
Matt Barzal, I think, has 8 points. I think that's the kind of the one that's sticking in a lot of people's craw, so to speak. But they haven't scored goals. I think they're last in the league in goals scored. Yep. They're not last in the league in points, but they haven't done anything. I think they're 27th in the league right now in points. So they're not doing great. And obviously in a very tough Metro division, which they were favored to win by a lot of people, that's going to be a big hole to climb out of, being as far down as they are currently. Isle's missing half their team, so the Rangers are going to lose 4-0 to them, says Ava. It seems like Rangers fans are kind of like Leafs fans. Like,
completely and totally.
Just kind of accept that bad things happen to us often.
Ava.
But
you guys won 2 draft lotteries in a row. It's okay. It'll be all right. But
will it?
Just again, when it comes to bad things happen to us, oh, poor us. Yeah. Austin Matthews, poor us. Mitch Marner, poor us. Oh, my goodness.
I remember what the Shannon thing was. It came to me.
Back to the Canucks.
Nothing that they're doing is happening at the same time. So, like, they'll have one game that's a good goalie, one game that they score a couple, but their defense is terrible. One game their defense is good, they can't score. Anyways, that was what it was.
Thatcher Demko isn't as good as UC Saros either. Let's put that to bed.
Yeah. Oh, hot take.
No, that is the take.
Correct take. Anyways, the Islanders. I still have the Canucks open, so I was still thinking about the Canucks. I don't know, Max. Can they come out of this, the Islanders, after a really rough first 15 games just with COVID and everything? Can they come out of it?
I think that if there's any team in this league, they can. They're one of the best coached in the league. They now are going to have a ton of home games down the stretch. We know how important that was to the Toronto Blue Jays. And I get it's a new barn, it's new surroundings, but at the same time, it's something that they'll be able to rally around. This is a team that, again, they got to get healthy quick. They really, really do. But you look at this is just not the Isles team that we know, right? And 15 games in, you know my favorite saying, it's late November, still early. And with the season pushed back 10 days to start the regular season anyways, the Thanksgiving holiday, whatever, got to be in the playoff spot by then to have a good chance at making it. I don't buy that. This team's got a little bit of time. They got to turn it around quickly. But at the same time, if there's any team that can do it, it's Barry Trotz and the Islanders. Just with how, again, we talk about teams with identity. This is a team with one of, if not the strongest identity in the entire league. They got to get healthy. They got to not be sick anymore. But once those two things fall into place, I think we're going to see an Isles team that makes a run here. If the St. Louis Blues of 2019 could do it, the New York Islanders can certainly do it with how much time is left on the schedule.
Just roster-wise, 2 things that stick out to me with the roster is they lost Jordan Eberle and Nick Leddy in the offseason. And now, obviously, with
you like Nick Leddy now?
I love Nick Leddy.
Remember when they overpaid for him, Clark?
Well, they did.
Yeah. Okay.
Obviously, they've had a lot of injuries and COVID and stuff this year. But I'm wondering how much those 2 guys, just the stability of those 2 who had been there for a really long time,
Ebbs for sure,
out now. I mean, Ebbs was a scoring factor on the right wing, which, you know, Oliver Wahlstrom's in there now. He scored 5 goals. I just checked him out on fantasy today. But 5 goals, that's it. No assists, nothing. So he's obviously really young. He needs a lot of work. So with all the injuries, I'm wondering how much they're missing those 2 guys right now is kind of what I'm getting at.
Anders Lee is back as well, too, right?
He had some injury issues.
That's a guy that was out for more than half the season last year, and they still made a hell of a run without him. So, again, I think these guys, they just need a little bit of time to get healthy, to get acclimated with one another once again. And once that happens, I can see the Isles being a team that rips off 10 of 12 to, again, forget this horrible start that they've been on. So
here we go. Listen to this. We got some action.
We got some action.
Action in the Facebook comments.
Action.
Our girl Katie Fleury says, "I'll make a bet with you guys. I'll buy you both coffee if you win, and if they don't come out of it, you owe me a coffee.
Starbucks
so
coffee?
I'm assuming
Starbucks, Katie? Are we talking the Bucks?
We going like super expensive stuff here?
Or are we talking like Timmy Ho-Ho's?
Yeah, either way. I mean, I'm a tea
I could
guy,
go for
so
some
I'm probably
Tim
going
Biebs
tea
right now.
anyways.
Some Tim Biebs? No, no free advertising.
Are they out yet?
I don't know.
I thought it was November 29th.
Hockey cards are out. I bought packs
Yeah.
of hockey cards until I got a Roman Yossi one, and now I'm good.
You good.
It's cool. It's the one with the red background.
Katie,
on it.
I'll take the bet.
Yeah, I'm in. Yeah.
So what are we saying? The Islanders make the playoffs, you win? If they don't, we win coffee? I'm a tea guy, so I'll take a tea.
Wait, but we want the Islanders to make the playoffs. I do, anyways.
But
I think they can come out of it.
She's saying, I'll buy you both if you win. If they don't come out of it, you owe me a coffee.
Yeah.
So we're taking they don't come out of it. She's taking they will. Because her comment earlier was, yes, they'll come out of it. Or wait, no. She said, I'll say no. Hold on. Katie, you got to explain.
We'll figure
Who's
it out.
on
We'll
whose
get the
side
details
here?
oriented. But you know what? A coffee bet I'm always down for.
She said,
especially in April.
Tim's for Clark, Starbucks for Max.
Yes.
I mean, I'm
Thank
getting
you,
tea
Katie.
anyways, so
Sounds-
it is what it
there you
is.
go.
I do prefer Tazo tea, which is from Starbucks. I'll just say that. Anyway, so who's on what side, though? You just need to tell us. Are we on them making the playoffs, and you're saying they will make the playoffs, or we're saying they'll make the playoffs, and you're saying they won't? Just let us know. and then
Aaron
we're good.
Matthews says 29th for the Tim
That's what I
Biebs.
thought. Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's coming. Cyber Monday? Is that Cyber Monday? I just know that's when
Ooh.
Spider-Man No Way Home tickets come on sale.
That's hot.
That's
Let's
all I'm
do, what do you want to do? Blue Jays?
Got to do the Blue Jays.
Okay, there's actual stuff we want to get into because the Barrios contract came out before our live stream last week, and we talked about it.
Came out
a little
the
bit
day
with
of
Craig.
the live stream.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit with Craig last week, but we wanted to talk about what it means. And Max, you said you wanted to deep dive this. So obviously, one of the biggest things when the Blue Jays went out and traded for Jose Barrios last year, it was if they make the playoffs, I'll buy you a coffee tea. If they don't make the playoffs, you owe me.
Got it. Yeah, I'm on the side of the
I'm in.
Islanders.
We're in.
I'm not betting against Barry
Mark
Trotz.
it down. Write it
Yeah.
in. Write it in
Sounds
your
good, Katie.
journal.
We're in.
Write it in your diary. Put it on Facebook. It's happening.
It's already on Facebook.
Well, I guess make a post about it. And we'll come back to it.
literally
So
right
when
there.
the Blue Jays went out and traded for Jose Barrios, 26, 27-year-old at the time, durable front end starting pitcher. When I say front end, of course I mean first or second, maybe third pitcher, but he's really looking like a guy who could be number one or a number two. And we talked about it with Craig Ballard last week. Comes in, real good first start, real bad like 4 starts after that. And then he kind of settled in and looked really good again by the end of the season. And I wish we could have saw him pitch a playoff game just to see he's such a passionate pitcher. You can tell he's just so focused. I would have loved to see him, and I hope to see lots of playoff games with him coming up as a Blue Jays fan. But the biggest thing for Blue Jays fans, we were weary about it, was he's got a 1-year contract after this. We just traded Austin Martin and Simeon Woods Richardson, 2 very good prospects for this guy. People were worried he was going to jump ship. It's a 7-year contract. He's back. He's in forever.
Took a month and a half for Jose Barrios and his family to be sold on Toronto.
Yeah, talk about his family a little bit, Max.
That's a statement.
We'll get into his family in a second.
Oh, no, we're not even talking about the family. We're talking about the city of Toronto.
No, we'll get into his family in a second with
Wow.
our next topic. But let's get into Barrios here. I mean, this is huge for the team. Again, 7 years. This team doesn't sign that contract very
What's that
often.
movie quote? 7 years.
Is that a quote?
It's a movie quote.
I don't know, Max. You might have lost me on that one.
Sorry.
7 years. I don't
That
know.
was one of those ones where the signal was in my brain and it had to come out.
Sure.
I botched it.
I hear you.
Anyways.
But this is huge. Again, major free agent who could have made a ton of money on the free agent market if he just would have waited a year. Signing a year early, which is huge. A top-end starter. He's not even 30 yet. This is big. And it's not only big for Barrios and the current Jays, but I think it's sending a bit of a shockwave across the league that, hey, guys are ready to buy into this team because people are seeing the future. And obviously that's the effect of this past season with the young guys that are currently there. Bichettes, Guerreros, go down the list. And I think that has a big part in it, that Barrios sees this team as a team he wants to be on for the next 7 years. That hasn't been the case for the Blue Jays in their existence very often. What do you want to say about it?
I Ellioted you hard.
You tuned out?
Didn't even catch
what I'm
2
saying
words
is,
of it.
Jose Barrios, what do you like?
I love his mechanics. I love the fact that, like you mentioned earlier, he's a front end of the rotation, durable starter with fantastic clean
Elite
mechanics.
stuff.
Elite stuff that you know is going to make his accustomed 32 starts in a season. Now, again, we're going to talk about where baseball landscape and the economics of it. Here's hoping he pitches in 2022 for the Toronto Blue Jays. Sorry if you said that already. But regardless,
I didn't. You got that one.
Nailed it. But regardless, I absolutely love the contract and what he brings to this organization. Again, we talk about guys that can move up and down the lineup in terms of hockey. Well, this is a guy that at the very, very worst, at his low end, is a number 3 starter. And to get him at an average annual value of $20 million based on where baseball revenues are going and this and that, again, as durable, as good as stuff as there comes in the majors, that that could be a front end of the rotation guy for many, many years. And again, it's just the fact that he was sold on Toronto so quickly. It didn't have to get into the season of the rumors of, is he going to resign, this and that. The price tag was too much. No, exactly what Craig said. This is worth it. This is now, it's
greatly
set
worth it.
In stone. It is worth it.
If the Jays get to a point where he's our 3rd starter, by the way, that's great.
And that's probably in year 6 or 7 of the deal.
Yeah. So this gives them now Ryu for a couple more years. Barrios, Manoah is under contract
Barney
for a
Stinson,
while.
How I Met Your Mother.
7 years?
7 years. I forget what episode, but it's How I Met Your Mother. Got it.
Sounds familiar now that you say it was
Chad's
Barney.
correct. I will take that coffee.
Yeah. So we got Barrios, we got Ryu, Manoah. Obviously, Robbie Ray's still up in the air. Steven Matz is still up in the air. Ross Stripling, I think, is a free agent up in the air. We're hoping he comes back.
Happy birthday, Ross Stripling.
Happy birthday, Ross. I want him back
Friend
on
of the
this
show.
team.
Me too.
And then we can have another chat with him, and it'll be great. We can have a chat with him either way, I guess.
Hey, you know what we
but
just got to do? We gotta call the friends at Popeyes, get him that chicken sandwich
get him a deal.
Because his agent hasn't done it yet. What if we do that? And
What if
then
we
he
got
comes
him a
back,
deal?
And then he comes back. We get him a deal. He signs a deal. How's that?
I'm in.
Just saying. It's a
I'm in.
concept that
And
works.
can we get Popeye's deals too, if that's the case?
We might be reaching a little bit. You know what? Hey, to get Ross Stripling back in a Toronto Blue Jays uniform, I will sacrifice my chicken
I
sandwiches.
would buy a chicken sandwich if it meant Ross Stripling
every day.
back on the Blue
Yeah,
Jays.
every 5th day. Every day that he starts, free chicken
There
sandwiches
you
on
go.
us. But they're not
I think
free
we just
for
came up
us.
with a thing. I think we just came up with a campaign.
So you don't have to go to law school to be an agent. You just have to know how to put ad
Jeez.
deals together.
Come on.
Good stuff.
Anyways, that's great. But we got I'm trying to think now. Who else? Now we've been talking about some other guys. Kevin Gosman is a name.
Kevin
We have him on
Gosman.
the list. Kevin Gosman was rumored last year. Kevin Gosman was rumored the year
He's
before.
Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro's Matt Duchene.
He wants
Kevin Gosman.
They want him so bad,
bad.
and he keeps not signing with whatever team they're with. Was the Indians
He keeps
before
showing up in the
Guardians.
nice lingerie, ready to have a nice
Honestly.
evening affair with the Toronto Blue Jays, and
Nope.
just
So they want
continues to
Kevin
stand us up.
Gosman. He was in San Francisco last year.
San Francisco put up a hell of a year
Great
after
year.
he accepted his qualifying offer, and he bet on himself, and it worked.
Yeah, exactly. And, the Jays really want him. So he'd be a really good 3-4 guy probably in that range, depending on where Manoah slots in.
And that's
probably.
the thing. You can give Manoah, again, however you map out the schedule, right? Because that's the thing that we already know that Pete Walker's working on in the offseason is he's mapping out the starters that he currently has under contract. He's saying, okay, where's this going to work out well in the schedule? Does Manoah slot better as a 4 guy based on the matchups?
Yeah.
Is he a 3? Where does he go? And you just know that they're going to want to give Alek Manoah every opportunity to continue to build off that fantastic rookie season. So to add a Kevin Gosman, that would insulate that. That would make sure that that's something that you could do with a young guy like Alek Manoah. So,
but that would take them out of the Robbie Ray race, I would think.
oh, likely for sure. Yeah.
just
You
because
get
of
one
the-
or the other.
And I think I would, Steven Matz, we had this conversation this morning, this morning. And I was like, Steven Matz, he had a good year, but there was a lot of times where, he was pretty pedestrian and he wants $15+ million right now. I don't know if I really feel as a fan like I want to do that. I feel like, I'd rather go a different direction if that's the case. And you mentioned J.A. Happ as a guy maybe making another stop in Toronto, who's now in his late 30s, right? He's 38 or 9 or whatever he is now. He's a guy who could come in and be just at veteran, reliable presence in the 5 spot and kind of give everybody else just confidence that, at least you're probably getting a quality start most nights out of J.A. Happ, even though he's in his older, he's in the twilight. And he'd probably come cheaper than 15. I don't know what you get him for at this point in his career, but he came for 12 before. Mm-hmm. He's older now. 8 or 9, 10.
And I think before I transition to J.A. Happ, I think the one thing that we got to talk about Steven Matz, though, with, and again, he was clutch down the stretch.
Yeah.
It was
it
was at the point where I would
he
rather
earns
see
$12 to $15 million. I just don't
yeah.
know if I'm ready to pay him the top end of that as a fan.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm
I'm
not
just
paying
saying
the bills.
I was ready to have Steven Matz out there ahead of Hyunjin Ryu at points during that stretch run last year. So
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, whatever contract he earns, he earned it. Especially with, again, it's when you show up during those playoff races is what gets you paid, right? Now,
Sure.
ultimately they didn't make the playoffs, so we'll never know what was. But at the same time, he was crucial to giving the Jays an opportunity to get into that final playoff spot. When it comes to J.A. Happ, I'm an advocate for it. You reunite him with Pete Walker. Be a guy in your fifth slot in the
That's what I
rotation
mean.
at $5 or $6 million.
You can't go out and get a guy, A, who has a history with Toronto, and B, is just a reliable, has always been pretty good in his career guy.
If he gives you
to be a
4
number
to 5
5
innings every single day, he doesn't have to give you 6. He could be that guy that goes out for 5 innings.
Nate Pearson comes in for 3.
Exactly.
How good would that be?
Well,
Also, I've heard some rumblings that Nate Pearson. It sounds like they want him in the pen. Who called that? A rash. I'll never forget that.
Well, I've heard. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah,
I'll never forget that.
That was a
though.
watershed moment.
When I'm
for
like,
you. You were very happy about
Arash, what do you think about Nate Pearson as a closer? Well, I think you're stupid. All right. That's not a quote.
That's
but
not what he said.
It was essentially.
You're
the
hearing what
conversation.
you wanted to hear.
No, I think I said, am I crazy and stupid for thinking he'd be a good closer? And I think he nodded his head. I think something like he didn't call me stupid.
I don't. And again, the closer side of it, we've already seen that Jordan Romano is probably going to be the closer for this team
He's
based on what
looking
he did.
good.
But can Nate Pearson be a 6-out unicorn in that 7th and 8th inning, and you only have to worry about 2 innings when it comes down to those, again, very, very crucial innings that the Blue Jays struggled in last year? That's something where I could see being a possibility of, again, if he can go out and just give gas for 5-6 outs every single outing, that's
like
worth
it.
its weight in gold right there, especially with the struggles that they had.
I like it a lot. Rod Monroe's checking in, says, great show, gentlemen. Max, you look much better without a Leafs jersey on.
Thank you very much, Rob.
Yep.
I do agree. I tell you what, though, I still haven't washed off the stains of just
the emotional
it's
stains.
just the emotional pain. You know that TikTok that's going around with like is that the Taylor Swift song with the water? I've seen some funny ones.
I'm going to say yes.
That one, yeah, the water, yeah. Either way, for context, yeah, I need a few of those to really drown out the pain.
Maybe a vinegar bath or something like
Maybe
that.
I'll just,
even
yeah, with the jersey on.
Aaron
See how that
Matthews
does.
clearly isn't aware of Ava's shtick. Aaron says, I feel like Ava has it in her mind that anyone who has ever played for New York is a legend. Kind of an inside joke we got going on where, I kept calling people Rangers legends or whatever legends.
Right.
And it's an insider.
No, Ava's a very, very intelligent fan. She knows her team inside and out. I think it's... Yeah.
She called Tyler Wade a legend earlier, and I think that's where it kind of started.
For sure. But I mean, at the same time, we're the same fan base when it comes to the Toronto Blue Jays, where we also thought that,
Yes.
we've had a few legends pass through.
Oh, tons. One thing I wanted to just throw in here, and Max hates it, but Javier Baez, there's a video came out at the Walk Off Homers, I think it was Walk Off Homers podcast. They had Arden Zwelling on, future guest of the SquadCast, eventually. And Arden basically said that Barrios and his family loved it in Toronto so much, and this had a large part in him signing a 7-year contract because he loved Toronto so much when he got here. And that it was clear in his press conference that was the case. And just so happens that...
Just so J.A. happens?
Just so J.A. happens that Barrios' wife is the sister of... Sorry. let me pull this back.
Come on, man. If you're going to bring up the family, you got to know the family tree.
Yeah, Barrios' wife is the sister of Javier Baez's wife. Sorry, Javier Baez's wife is her sister.
Good job.
So Javi Baez is a free agent, total free agent. They grew up together in Puerto Rico, and the wives are sisters. So the thought process from the quote from the clip that I sent you, and you hated immediately, was they like it so much, and they want the families. Their families are close. They want them to maybe bring Javi Baez, childhood friends, whatever, Puerto Rico. They grew up in Puerto Rico. Maybe Javi Baez is coming to the Jays. Now he'd be if you're not getting Semien back, you bring Javi Baez in to play second base. I mean, in terms of production, he's shown that he has a lot to offer. However, he's also got a downside. He strikes out a lot. There's some downsides. He also had a bit of a run-in with Mets fans last year. So there's that. But
Immediately
he
after
also
got
won a
dealt.
World Series with the Cubs at the age of what, like 22, as a starting, starter in the World Series.
Starting starter.
Starting starter.
Starting starter, second baseman.
Was he second or was he a shortstop at that point? Where was he
I'm
playing?
gonna call
I don't remember.
second because that's what he's
Second base,
advertised
yeah.
as,
But anyways, I just thought that was like kind of an interesting little connection. Max absolutely hates
You think
it.
everything though when it comes to okay.
Say what you want to say, Max.
There's a lot of things I want to say in this instance. First of all, I'm going to say
We still have one more topic, so just
Javi
keep that in
Baez
mind.
is a plan C for the Toronto Blue Jays. Plan A, re-sign Marcus
I'm fine with
Semien
that.
to fair market value, whatever that being, $30+ million. I don't care. Bring him back. And again, save the Mats money. Get that fifth slot in the rotation given to a J.A. Happ, somebody that you're familiar with that you know that could win you 5 or 6 ball games. Anyways, that's plan A. Sign Marcus Semien.
Okay.
Plan B, you go out, like Craig Ballard is advocating for, and you get Jose Ramirez.
So what do you do a second? Not that Cavan could play second.
Potentially. Why not? The other thing, though,
Kevin
too, is,
Biggio
again,
for-
Javi Baez isn't the only second baseman on the free agent market that could fill that gap, right? At the end of the day, it's you already have a very, very good... You know who could fill it? I bet you who could fill it? Santiago.
Espinal.
I bet you that's a guy that, again, could transition from third base to second base. No
think he
problem
did.
whatsoever. Exactly. He's a
couple
guy that can
times.
play all over. And we know that, again, 7th
Love
or
his
8th in
energy.
the order. Love his energy. And again, the other thing, too, is what's Randall Grichuk going to return in a trade? Because I bet you that trade happens this offseason. I really do.
I feel it.
I just feel it. You know?
One other thing we should probably
Anyways,
get
plan
to.
C, Javi Baez.
Plan C.
Plan C.
One thing we should probably get to is the Rogers thing. So Rogers is in the middle of potentially selling the Blue Jays. So was Sid Sixero retweeted like a Toronto Star
and then he had to
article.
pay for the article, and then I just didn't have $2 to spare.
So
you know.
yeah. So the idea here is that they want to boost the value of the Jays to sell it at a higher price. Is what I think I'm getting.
Been watching a lot of Suits lately, but I don't know if that
What
checks
was it?
out.
What was it? What was the deal? Because there was something to do with the Jays' finances where they wanted to either lower debt or something, and it could affect either in a good way or a bad way.
Well, the only
Jays
reason
this
you'd
season.
sell the only reason you'd sell the team at this point with where they're at in terms of the on the field product is if you're gonna be making
You got to get a big sale for it. You're not
gotta
selling
get
it at a
big
low.
sale, and I think
So,
what
what
the,
I'm
the
thinking
reading
is-
between the lines
Right.
is whatever ownership group comes in. Obviously, you're keeping the Jays in Toronto,
Yeah.
but you've also got pockets deep enough to potentially build a new stadium.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm reading between the lines and in the lines of the article that I didn't want to pay $2 for. But that's what I'm thinking
So,
is what's going to be happening.
Was it that they were going to put some money into the team so that they sell a lot of stuff and
I don't
get
know
some
if
high
there's
revenues, make
is
the
Rogers
playoffs?
selling off the majority of the team at an inflated value to potentially get a stadium built. I don't know. I'm not a business.
Right.
Well, I am a business major, but it's marketing, not
You're getting there.
not economics. I
So,
don't know.
there
Bring
is
me
some
Jonah
s-
Hill from Moneyball. He'd tell me.
There is some stuff going on to keep your eye on, and maybe we'll hear some more in the coming weeks, and we'll keep you updated.
Did the Penguins sell? No, that didn't happen.
It's happening to the Fenway Sports. Boston Red Sox are buying the Penguins.
Yeah,
I've
Fenway
also heard
Sports is.
that
Yeah.
they want to buy an NBA team and an NFL team as well. They
got
want
the
to get in
pockets.
every major
Isn't
sport.
LeBron part of that ownership group or something too? Like,
Yes,
he's got a minority
LeBron is
stake
part
in-
of it,
Oh,
and there's a couple other major people.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's big. It's not just like, a couple people from Boston. No, it's not a couple people from Boston. It's all over, and it just happens to
From
be
Boston.
called Fenway. Anyways, that's
You should get Zig for cost.
Fenway owns a NASCAR team, Jordan says as well.
There we
They're
go.
literally trying to get their hands in every big sport.
every single cherry pie on the
I
market.
wonder if they'll buy the Jays. How awkward would that be?
Oh.
I don't think they would allow that.
I don't think you can. No, because
They own the Red
You can't
Sox, so-
own two teams in the same sport
Yeah, but they were
Can't do
gonna.
that.
Weren't they gonna? There was another.
because
yeah,
that's immediately a conflict of interest.
It have to be.
Can't do that.
It's just gonna be interesting that they have that's Fenway based in Boston, and they're gonna own the Penguins and the
Build a big blue wall in
Jaguars
left
or
field,
something, and yeah,
or right field.
Gonna be interesting. Anyways, let's get into our NFL picks. What do you say? We got.
Yeah, I think it's
probably
time.
wrap this up here.
You get to pick the battle game. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I
Let me bring up
suck.
the sketch.
Well, or pick the winner of it. Well,
Week 12, right? We're going into week 12.
sorry, on the Javi Baez thing.
Oh boy.
This is, hey, you got the Vancouver Canucks topic. I
You're
get
right.
this one.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's been in big markets like New York, Chicago.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
not going to be a lot of selling going on when it comes to Javi Baez, I don't think. And as I say this, watch this, he's going to sign randomly somewhere like
we'll
Milwaukee,
see.
but they have Colton Wong, so
Yeah.
that was a bad one. But maybe he signs back with the Cubs. I don't know.
Yeah.
The White Sox need a second baseman?
I think.
don't know.
I mean, his power as a second baseman is something that I think the Jays covet after their season from Semien.
But he's another right-handed bat.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, let's move on to our NFL picks so we can wrap it up. The battle game of the week. I get to pick the game, or I get to pick my first choice. Do we have an obvious game?
Interest from the Red Sox.
The Red Sox?
Those Red Sox just
Of course he's going to go to the Red Sox.
That's what I mean. Big market, man. Big market, big money.
Stupid Red Sox. Rams Packers? Battle game?
Depends who you're taking.
Well, I get to pick, so.
Yeah, I know. It depends.
I'm just saying we got to pick a game.
Well, I know. Maybe I want to pick that game to pick that game.
I bet you would want to pick that game.
I don't know.
Well, we could do. I don't think there is another battle game, unless you want to go with Toilet Bowl Jets Texans. Do you want to do Toilet Bowl?
Hey, the Texans beat the Titans last week. You put some respect.
Do you want to do Toilet Bowl this week?
The Texans.
Raiders Cowboys.
Bears Lions on Thanksgiving.
I don't know. I think we do the Toilet Bowl for
Bills
battle game
Saints.
this week.
Titans Patriots.
That would be an okay one.
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
Or
do that
Falcons Jags. That's the real Toilet Bowl.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Do you want to do the Titans Patriots? Because I know you just want to pick the Rams.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Got some inside information.
And you just know that if that's the battle game, I'm going to pick the Rams. And you don't want that to happen.
No, I don't.
So you want to do Titans Patriots?
Yeah, Titans Patriots.
Okay, game one for me. Let's get into her.
Haven't put the Patriots on the graphic in a while.
Well, it's been a weird year to pick for the Patriots. One of the storylines coming out of last week was Jonathan Taylor ran buckshot. Now, I'm not picking the Colts right now, but I'm just saying Jonathan Taylor got me 50 points in 3 quarters in fantasy football last week. Stupid, but I'll take it.
Yeah,
and I beat Darren.
I had him in one team too. It was nice.
I beat Darren Dupont 193-70.
That's a whooping.
Yeah, that's a whooping.
I believe in the Urban Dictionary, that's called a whooping.
I think that's what they're called. Yep. This is a terrible week for picks.
I don't mind it. Why? Why are you scared?
It's just a lot of like even matchups. There's no.
I finally got off the schneid and beat you after, what was it, 3 weeks, I think you had?
Yeah, 3 or 4 even in a row where I had a.
You're only 2 games up now, I think, or a game and a half with the tie.
It's still tight. Oh, oops, I dropped my headphone. It was still tight the whole time.
Yeah.
I did have those couple 5-0 weeks, but even in those weeks, I think you were 4-1. So it's not like you even lost that much ground.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know. Is there any comments coming in here that I can just delay this with in order to not make my pick?
You have 12 seconds on the clock.
Oh, shoot.
11,
What's YouTube got going
10.
on over here?
It's 8:54, man.
We got to get out of here. Where did I go now? Here we go. So.
You writing these down, by the way?
Oh, do you not have the script open?
Nope.
Okay. You're clicking on it right now. Okay. Game one. I'm just going to do this one because I feel like the rest, it's a weird week. I'm going to go Eagles over the Giants. Game one. Now, that's a game one. There's usually like the biggest biggest mismatch of the week. I feel like there isn't really a biggest mishmash of the week this week. It's crazy. Anyways, go ahead.
Aaron Rodgers apparently has something worse than turf toe. They did not look great against the Vikings. I don't know if Jair Alexander's back, but I know the Rams need a bounce back. This is a get-right week for the LA Rams. I'm taking my boys. I hope it goes well. By all indications, it's we'll see. I am cautiously optimistic that the boys get it right this week. Odell's had a couple weeks to learn the playbook now. Thank goodness for the bye week.
I'm going to go with this one. The Panthers over the Dolphins. I think the Panthers with CMC back are going to start rolling again a little bit.
Choice. Dolphins have won 3 in a row.
Yeah, I know. But I think with the Panthers, they're getting CMC back healthy more and more every week. Cam Newton coming back. He's a bit of a jolt.
Bit of a jolt?
Yeah, bit of a jolt. I think their defense has been okay this year. And I think, again, you said the Dolphins have won 3 in a row. They still lost. They were still 1-7 at one point. So I'm going to go with the Panthers and see what happens.
Happy Thanksgiving, Dallas Cowboys fans. We're going to ride that train twice in a week because, again, Dak's got to get things back on track here.
So bad.
Ooh.
So bad.
Dak back on track.
Yeah.
That's the...
Meme it.
Meme it, yeah.
Meme it.
That's entirely my MO with this one. They got embarrassed by the Chiefs. Not a good showing for them. I know that they're, I want to say it's their starting left tackle who really, they rely on him a lot, has been out. But Dak's going to have to find a way to get things going if they want to retain the confidence level of the nation, as it were.
Another bounce back candidate of a team that needs it really bad is the Bills. They haven't looked good the last couple of weeks in games that they probably should have won. And they're up against the Saints in the Dome this week. I'm going to say that they'll bounce back in the Dome and have a good one this week.
In the Dome.
Yeah. The Bills will win against the Saints.
I like it. You know what? I don't see any sort of reasoning to believe as to why the Detroit Lions are going to win. I'm taking some Thursday Thanksgiving Day games. I want to have this squad select over because I think it could be a get right week for me, but I don't want to overthink it. We're going to go Bears over Lions, but if anybody knows the Chicago Bears, this could be, for some inexplicable reason, one that they fail to show up for on national TV. But we'll see.
This will be the one. Jets Texans is, man. I'm going to go Chargers over Broncos.
I like that pick. That's where I was going to go next.
Yeah, I saw it, and I hope you didn't because you like picking the Chargers. I don't typically like picking the Chargers.
See that Sunday Night Football game, man? Ooh, that was a good one. Justin Herbert.
That is a good game. Oh, this one upcoming or the last one?
On Sunday night against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were up like 17 or something going into the fourth quarter. Yeah. Pittsburgh stormed all the way back. And
Came back, tied it, and then
big play by Justin Herbert, the next premier quarterback in the NFL. You could call him a premier quarterback already.
He was the number 2 overall pick in the Ultimate Franchise Fantasy Football League.
Yeah, I guess that's premier. Yep, absolutely.
Number 2.
Oh, man. Joe Burrow and the Bengals, they need to kind of put together some stuff here.
Did you put Javi Baez as not coming to Toronto in my picks, my NFL picks?
How'd that get there?
Come on, man.
How'd that get there?
Anyways,
Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Chad, I know
Isaac,
you're there.
Where are you at, bro?
Your boys, who dat? Or is that what it is? Who dat? Who day? Whatever. They need to come up with a win this week.
He said the Bengals and Steelers should be the battle game.
Oh, that's not true. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I'm saying the Bengals got to battle the Steelers on their way to a W because I need them to, and I got burned. I got absolutely torched by Derek Carr in fantasy last week. He cost me both leagues. Both leagues.
Now, okay, so you said something earlier that really scared me about this battle game now that I'm thinking about it.
Did I?
Is Derrick Henry going to be back for this week?
No, gosh, no.
Okay, I'm going to take the Patriots in the battle game.
No, Chad, I won the week. I'm not a jinx anymore. I'm not the, hey, another How I Met Your Mother reference.
Yeah.
I'm not
Blitz.
the, what is, yeah, I'm not the Blitz. Exactly. Yeah. Speaking of Blitz, make sure the Bengals, do that.
They whisper, Blitz. I'm going to take the Patriots over the Titans this week.
I kind of wanted Mac.
At home, Mac Jones, the Patriots, they just seem to be clicking right now. And the Titans, I've picked them a couple times. They've been really scaring me lately.
Didn't you pick them the one they lost to the Jets, too?
Yes.
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
I did.
That's right.
Because it was, why wouldn't I?
Because why wouldn't you? Exactly,
Anyways, I'm going to take the Patriots. Right now, I'm having a hard time until Henry, I think Julio's battling something.
They just
Ryan
released
Tannehill's
Adrian
in
Peterson,
a cold
too.
snap.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the Patriots and just fingers crossed. I hate betting on the Patriots.
Hate bet.
So
hey,
I picked
you know what
the
they say? You don't get rich betting against Bill Belichick. It's actually Tom Brady. But now that the Patriots are good again, you could say you don't get rich betting against Bill Belichick.
I have picked the Eagles, Panthers, Bills, Chargers, Patriots. Max has the Rams. Not surprised. Cowboys, Bears, Bengals, and Titans. Oh, my.
Can I change my Bears pick? I hate the
Going
Bears.
Lions?
No, I want to change games.
Oh, you want to change games? I mean, I've done this before, so I'll say okay. But
no, we'll stick with it. Jamie
right.
Yancey, your Bears better show up.
Next week on the SquadCast, I'm hoping this works out as well as I have it planned. Ryan Moyer is going to be joining us. He's with Sportsnet, but he also owns and runs Wood Jerseys. Love those guys.
Go check out their site now,
and
this week.
We might have something going on with them as well. We have to chat a little bit, but stay tuned. And I think we have somebody else potentially.
I think they're having a Black Friday sale this week. Dead serious, you guys. Jordan, get that camera on me for half a second.
Uh-oh.
Dead serious. You need these things for your fan cave. Woodjerseys.ca.com.
Both.
One of them. Anyways, just Google
Instagram.
Wood Jerseys. It is the coolest fan cave memorabilia item you will find on the market. I guarantee it. I believe they're having a Black Friday sale. Go check it out now.
And they just look nicer and nicer every time I look
they
at
do.
them. And they're adding more teams.
That is not
all the time.
That is not a jersey that needs to grow on you. Those are all premier and
they're good to go.
Fantastic items.
I love it. I want one so bad. And I don't know, maybe we'll get something going for in here. But we're going to leave it at that. From the basement of the bunker, we are back in the bunker. It's nice to be back. Who am I? Producer Clark.
I am Javi Baez, and I am not coming to the Toronto Blue Jays.
Mad Max over there. Director Jordan and engineer Lindsay. What are we calling her? Engineer?
Assistant to the regional director. She probably enjoys that term.
Yeah, assistant to the regional director.
Absolutely. Rolf, I don't think, is Rolf an Office fan?
He's not here.
No, I know that, but is he an Office fan? I don't think that joke
There is a
right
Rolf in the office.
There is a Rolf in the office. But I'm just saying, though, Lindsay
Jinx.
probably knows the joke.
I think. Do you guys watch The Office back there? I don't know. Jordan doesn't watch anything. So
Jordan,
Jordan hasn't seen The Matrix, and he works in media.
Wow.
He works behind the scenes in media, and he's never seen The Matrix.
Hey,
any of them.
Live stream party. Movie night with director
Movie
Jordan.
night with Jordan. We make him watch movies he's never seen before.
Exactly. Yeah.
Jordan.
A double feature. Jordan, you're bringing the popcorn. Have a good night, everybody.
Can we stream live movies? We can't probably do that, but... anyways, our friends at Rockstar Supply Chain Solutions, IKS Media, Original 16. Oh, I didn't have a nightcap tonight. Great Western Brewing Company, Hoop Life, of course. Andrew, shout out to you for coming in. Thanks to Jessi Pierce for coming on. RBI Baseball Training. Everybody else, all of you. See you later.
Bye.